Sleepy town settled for the night, where every lawn is tailored just right. And it's about time that the back porch light comes on. At that house down the street, at that house on Magnolia Street. Break on through to the other side. My microphone is in place. It's Donna and Darlene back on the scene, ready to be obscene. Hi.
Oh, man.
That worked.
I'm
How are you?
good. I'm busy. My brother's been home for a few days, so he's just been like putting me to work, man.
It is a holiday week.
I'm excited. Food. Thanksgiving and turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes and Avi's making brisket and
Oh,
all the sides. I like sides.
what are your favorite sides?
Nobody ever makes mac and cheese in my family, but I think I
love a
need to
mac and
start making that
cheese.
happen. Me too. Stuffing is probably my favorite side.
Do you
Stuffing.
like a bready stuffing?
Yeah, my mom makes it with like white bread. Like she puts like, she doesn't do like, you know how a lot of people do like fruit or nuts or like
Ew.
cranberries or like that bullshit.
Yeah,
No,
don't do
she
that.
keeps it simple. Celery, onion, and butter. Lots of butter.
Have you ever made stuffing? I've never made it.
Yeah, I steal her recipe. She
Nice.
uses like this seasoning. I don't remember what it's called. It's like it comes in a box and it's like a turkey on the box.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what that's called?
Stofers?
It's good seasoning. It's really freaking good.
I don't know.
But she's used it my entire life, and I stole the recipe from her,
Nice.
and I fucking love it. Anyway,
Hey, Witch, hey.
hey, which hey,
Missed you. We didn't get to talk a
Yeah.
lot this week.
yeah, what have you been up to all week?
I have company in town.
That's right. Are they still there?
Yep, they're leaving this afternoon. We're gonna get some lunch, get up to Charlotte before traffic, have a late lunch, and then get them to the airport. But I've been like headlong into that book I got, The Devil in the Dark Water.
How is it?
It's really fucking good. It's like a mystery, like kind of like whodunit, set on the high seas, but there's kind of a love interest. I'm not far from the end, like maybe less than 100 pages, and I still don't know. Like you still don't know who it is.
Really?
It's really
So,
good.
They might just give that little twist like right at the end, maybe.
Oh yeah.
I hope they don't leave you hanging. I would be so pissed.
Oh, I'd be so fucking pissed. But it's written by a dude, which is fine. It's very good. He put at the end like a little apology. He was like, "I apologize to any sailors or historians or something like that for because it's fiction."
Yeah.
But also, you know that like trope of like how guys write love scenes or like a smolder scene. It's just kind of like that. There's not a whole lot of like you can tell it's written by a guy.
Okay.
But I really like the book. It's really good.
Is that the one with the pretty? Is like a pretty map in the front, right?
Yeah, which is
really
really cool because
cool.
it also has it has all these characters, right?
Yeah.
And it lists out like notable royalty, notable crewmen, and then it has like the layout of their rooms. Like it's important what number room they're in. It's like a real mystery thing happening. So it's like it shows you the whole ship and it shows you what cabins they're in.
Yeah.
It's very good.
Oh,
That's what I've been doing. That's really it.
Add that to my list.
How's your book?
I haven't picked it up since last time we talked about
Your
it.
brother's visiting, so you've been busy.
Well, yeah, I told you I'm a slow reader, so and I've been editing the Joseph episode.
Oh
so
yeah, I
I've
can't wait to hear that.
busy editing, busy with my brother, and busy. We have more songs to work on. We're probably gonna work on more tonight, and then try to finish up the rest of them tomorrow. There's like 9 songs.
Are you allowed to say what you're working on?
Um,
Something big.
I'm gonna keep it under wraps for now, but yeah, there's a
Cool.
pretty cool opportunity that my brother presented me with because he's out in LA, so he's got all the connections.
That's awesome, dude.
But yeah, so he's got a friend in the industry who's looking for some music.
Mm-hmm.
He wrote a majority of it. I'm helping with some of the writing, like some of the bridges and just like tying loose ends together and melody ideas and stuff like that. But I'm doing all the session vocal work.
That's amazing.
I'll have to show you some of the tracks. They're fun. They're very pop R&B, I would say.
Nice.
Yeah. GERPER-HURRLITT.
GERPER-HURRLITT. That's what we're doing today. We're doing GERPER-HURRLITT.
Yeah, man. It's been a long time coming. I feel like Jimmy got all the love the last
Good.
couple months, but
Yes.
now we're gonna get into we were talking about spooky eyes. Now we're talking about which we call him because he's got different colored eyes,
He
right?
does have the different colored eyes. Gerper Hurler is fine with me.
Gerper eyes.
Gerper eyes. Gerper Hurler. Yeah, we needed another. There's not many male characters in this movie, so we knew we'd be
Right.
getting to Gary eventually. But he
Hmm.
doesn't come in until the very end, so we were like,
Yeah,
we got to
man.
do the ladies first, and we have to do the antagonist, right?
Yeah.
But season 2, here comes Gary
Here comes Gary in all his glory.
and all
Um,
his
yeah.
denim glory.
His denim glory.
Do we have to talk about anything before we get going?
Do we?
This is out the 15th. Is this right
Of
before your birthday?
December? Yeah.
Happy birthday!
Thanks in advance. 'Cause we're recording this on November 21st, right before Thanksgiving.
Yours is the 20th, December 20th.
Yeah.
Happy freaking birthday. Did you
5
what you're
days
doing yet?
before baby Jesus.
What but Jesus? You
What
said,
but
I'm getting out
Jesus?
before the Jesus.
Yeah, I'm getting out before him. We celebrate together. It's a good time.
So no plans as of yet.
Actually, I showed you what I wanted to do for my birthday, right? There's like this candlelit orchestra concert.
Yeah. Are you gonna? It's in New York.
Yeah. So they have them all over the place apparently. I saw them in Boston when we were up that way. They were doing like creepy stuff for Halloween and we missed it by like a weekend. I would have
Oh,
loved to have done that up in Salem and heard some spooky tunes via candlelight with a full orchestra. It's just so freaking cool. But they
beautiful.
do them for, I guess, all the holidays and they do them all over the place. And there's a concert in New York. It goes all month long, I'm pretty sure, for the holidays. They do like different, not just holiday songs. It's like they're having a whole night dedicated to Taylor Swift. They're doing like
That's right. You said.
doing a whole Beatles night.
Oh my God.
I'm sure my dad would have loved to have seen that, but it doesn't fall like around my birthday, that one. So the one that falls, I think my birthday weekend is the Nutcracker Suite.
Is it just instrumental or are there singing?
Yeah, it's all orchestra, all like strings. I'm gonna wear my fucking ball gown. I'm gonna wear
Yes.
a ball gown.
Please
And I
take
told
me.
Avi, I was like, I want to arrive in a limo and I want to wear a ball gown like I'm going to a fucking opera. I have entered my Victorian lady era.
I'm so excited for you.
Telling you. And before
I'm
that,
telling you
I'm telling
right
you
now.
right now, there's a restaurant that I want to go to before that. And it kind of has like a gothic kind of like old speakeasy kind of vibe, but like
Cool.
there's a picture of Edgar Allan Poe on the fucking wall.
Come
And
on.
it's like a huge picture, and I was like, I want to eat there, and I want to sit right under that picture.
That's awesome.
So I have a plan in my mind. We'll
Mhm.
see if the people that I love make it happen for me. If I disappoint, because
Don't
I'm a
drop the ball.
Sagittarius, and you know me. Go big or go home. And if it's not freaking lit, then I'm gonna be very disappointed. And I'm gonna keep that in
Awesome.
mind because they have some milestone birthdays coming up, so they better
Mhm.
get me right. Because
Okay. We'll have to
go
check
big.
back in. We'll check back in
Yeah.
that week after and do a little special because we haven't done a Facebook Live in a while or Instagram Live. So we can talk about your birthday.
We haven't.
That would
Yeah, I just hope it all works out because I know the dates we were throwing up a couple dates because my brother wanted to be there. Initially, we were gonna do it the 16th, but he couldn't take off an extra week of work, so the 22nd is closer to Christmas, so he'll be home. So I think we're
Okay.
gonna go with that, even though it's a Friday, and I know a lot of people probably might not want to come out since it's like right after work and they have to go into the city and it's a whole process. So I get it, but
But do
I don't know.
something fun because
Yeah.
yeah, the holidays are supposed to be fun, but we
Mhm.
all know they're exhausting and family's exhausting.
Yeah.
You
Oh
might as
yeah.
well have a pre-Christmas with something you want to do.
Yeah, so hopefully it's fun. I know I'm a little extra and I asked for the world, so we'll see if they deliver. Yeah,
That's gonna be awesome.
it's been
I
a
wish I
while
could
since
join
I
you.
went. I know. I
I'm
wish you
sorry.
could come.
But I do think that maybe next year we should throw you a practical magic aunts inspired Victorian garden party.
That would be fucking
Wouldn't
fun.
that be so sweet?
Yeah, but I'd have to come down to you
I was
because
gonna say maybe you come here for my birthday.
in December,
Yeah, come here
I
in
don't know
May.
if we're gonna be hanging out in any gardens.
No. Yeah. You're more than welcome. Bring the family.
All right. Okay, cool.
All right. Let's get into Gary. How about? You ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Alrighty, yeah. Yeah. I think he's ready. He's ready for his time to shine.
Yes.
So
Do you think he's a patient person? He seems quite patient to me.
I think so. I think he's
Until you feed him too much bullshit.
yeah. I mean, I don't think he's too put off by weird stuff. I mean, he stuck around through an exorcism. So I think
Mhm.
he's, down to party.
It's funny that we don't see, I know he's like the good guy, and I'm thinking of like he's down to party, but we don't see him drinking. That was like the girls' thing, like letting go, letting loose, having a good time. That was Jimmy's thing, which
Yeah.
fueled his rage.
Right.
Gary, straight laced,
He's just so grounded, I think. And I think that's what maybe appeals to Sally because she's had such like a turbulent life.
Mhm.
Is like he's just like this like calming presence that entered her life even through the midst of like all that fucking chaos that he walked into.
Yeah.
And he like handled it no freaking problem. Like there's no skin off his freaking back. He's like what do you say? Cool as a cucumber. He's just
Do you
cool as
think
a
he's a
cuke.
Capricorn?
He might. I think he's definitely got to be some kind of earth sign
Yeah.
for sure.
Gary, in this film, in this story, he is an Arizona state investigator. He has reason to believe that Gillian is the cause for Jimmy's recent disappearance. He is also kind of looking for Jimmy because of the homicides, or, with the women in the movie and the overdoses with the kids mistaking Jimson weed for peyote in the book. He's
Mm-hmm.
played by Aidan Quinn. However, we discovered that Timothy Oliphant also read for the role,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That clip was on YouTube for a while and then I guess it got taken down. I
Yeah.
added it to one of our Practical Magic playlists on our YouTube channel just because, I was like archiving all the like interesting footage that I found.
Mhm.
But that was for some reason, I guess that was somebody took it or YouTube took it
Weird.
down. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Really good
I'm glad
memory.
they went with Aiden because Timothy's younger, pretty
Yeah.
young. I think he's handsome, but to me he's kind of got like a impish quality. Like he could be kind of like slimy if he wanted to be, but what like Aiden has such
Yeah.
a genuine personality character, so.
Right. And hasn't Timothy Oliphant played like outlaws in Western movies? Pretty
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
So I could definitely see what you're talking about. Like he could be a sleaze.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
But in the book and in the movie, Gary's character doesn't come in till basically the third act, right? It can
Pretty
be
late
it
for a love
really is.
interest to pop
Yeah.
in.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
can be difficult to get an audience to trust that character, never mind like for him to be a love interest to boot in that
Hmm.
short amount of time.
Totally.
We're going to go through the books. He does, this one's going to have spoilers, guys. Note our
Yeah.
disclaimer. But we're
Should we
going to go
just
through.
start putting spoiler warnings in front of every episode? Because I mean, we put it in our show description, but I don't know if everybody reads those. And then sometimes people are like, I started listening to you guys, and then you spoiled everything for me. I didn't finish the books, and we're like, dude, we put spoiler warnings in the
Right,
description, but
right,
I
right.
guess not everybody reads those, so we're sorry ahead of time. But yeah, spoiler warning for sure. If you haven't finished the books or seen the movie, you should have seen the movie by now at this point.
Yeah.
But if you haven't, go take a break, pause this, go do all that, and then come back when you're done. Yeah.
Would you please take us through Practical Magic? Because there's a lot. He does come
Okay.
in, but he's got a very big presence.
Right, yeah. So in the books, this is from the first book, Practical Magic. So this says, natives say that more lightning occurs in Tucson, Arizona than anywhere else on Earth. If you've grown up close to the desert, you can easily chart a storm by the location of the lightning. You know how long you have before you better call on your dog and see to your horse and get yourself under a safe, grounded roof. Lightning, like love, is never ruled by logic. Accidents happen, and they always will. And lightning is a huge trope that runs throughout the Practical Magic series, not just the first book. I feel like it even increased over like through Rules of Magic and like, through the later books. But it's interesting because lightning never played a role in the film, right?
No, not at all.
Right.
Nope. I wonder what rabbit holes we're going to dive down if we decide to talk about lightning at some point.
Yeah, totally. We will at some point for sure.
Nice.
So this next one says Gary Hallet is personally acquainted with two men who've been hit by lightning and have lived to tell the tale. And that's who he's been thinking about as he navigates the Long Island Expressway at rush hour, then tries to find his way through a maze of suburban streets, passing the Y field when he makes a wrong turn off the turnpike. I guess, yeah, he's on the East Coast at that point.
They write him very strange, right? They give you a little taste of him and he's already on the East Coast, and then they do like flashbacks.
Right. You're
Right?
right. Yeah, yeah. Did we find out how because he was raised by his grandfather. I know we're going to get to that at some point. He was raised by his grandfather. I don't remember if his grandfather was struck by lightning or how his grandfather died. I don't remember. I'm sure it's in here somewhere. You'll get to it.
Keep
but I'm
going.
like thinking out loud.
Uh-huh.
So the next one, Gary went to school with one of these survivors, a boy who was only 17 at the time he was hit, and it messed up his life from that day on. He walked out of his house, and the next thing he knew, he was sprawled out in the driveway, staring up at the indigo sky. The fireball had passed right through him, and his hands were as charred as a grilled steak. He heard a clattering, like keys being jangled or somebody drumming, and it took a while for him to realize that he was shaking so hard the sound he was hearing was being made by his bones as they hit against the asphalt.
Damn.
This fellow graduated from high school the same year Gary did, but only because the teachers let him pass through his courses out of kindness. That's horrifying, being struck by lightning.
I cannot imagine.
Right?
You just get a little jolt, when
Right.
you're too close to the electrical outlet or doing something, and it's like, oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Have you ever grabbed like an electrical fence?
No. Have you?
Yeah. No, I have not. I had a friend who did it, and you like can't let
Wait,
go. You
on
get
purpose?
Yeah, on purpose.
What?
I don't know.
Wait, is he of the male species?
No, it was a girl.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna say mostly guys do stupid shit like that, right?
No. But yeah, it's apparently like you can't let go, so you just keep going, and you can't be pulled off, right? Because the electrical current would be passed to that person.
Right. Yeah, so you just gotta let it ride, I guess.
Whoa.
That person, they sealed their own fate by doing something that stupid. The other day, Molly got out of the shower, and I guess she had a little bit of water on her hands, and she went to plug, I guess, her phone in or whatever, and she's like, I just got shocked. Like, she was so surprised that she got shocked. I was like, well, you just got out of the shower. Did you have water on your hands? And she, like, didn't answer me because she knew that, she'd fucked up.
Right.
And I was like, you gotta be more careful, Molly.
Yeah.
All right? Because Darwinism is real. It'll take you out. Anyway, so the next line in the book. He'd been a terrific shortstop and was hoping for a try at the minors, but now he was too nervous for that. He would no longer play baseball out on the field. Too much open space. Too much of a chance he'd be the tallest thing around if lightning should decide to strike twice. That was the end for him. He wound up working in a movie theater, selling tickets and sweeping up popcorn and refusing to give any patrons their money back if they didn't like the film they paid to see. So the next one says the other guy who was hit was more affected. Lightning changed his life and every single thing about it. It lifted him up right off his feet and spun him around, and by the time it set him back on the ground, he was ready for just about anything. This man, it was Gary's grandfather. This man was Gary's grandfather, Sonny, and he spoke about being struck by what he called the white snake every single day until the day he died. 2 years ago, at the age of 93. Long before Gary had ever come to live with him, Sonny had been out in the yard where the cottonwoods grew, and he'd been so drunk he didn't notice the oncoming storm. The white snake.
Mm-hmm.
What don't they say? Here I go again on my own. Right?
Is that them? Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's white snake.
Down the only road I've
Never
known.
known.
Damn, we're gonna get sued.
Like a drifter, I was born to walk alone, and I made up my mind.
I ain't wasting no more time.
Here I go again. Okay,
Nice. We'll be here
got
all
that out of
week.
got that out of our system. All right, the next line. So this says, being drunk was his natural state at that point. He couldn't recall what it felt like to be sober, and that alone was enough of a reason for him to figure he'd better go on avoiding it, at least until they put him in his grave. Maybe then he'd consider abstinence, but only if a good foot of dirt had been shoveled on top of him to keep him in the ground and out of the package store over on Speedway. There I was.
So there I was.
There I was. Oh my god. I'm having like flashbacks to Plaid Dog.
Oh man.
Studio. There I was, minding my own business when the sky came down and slapped me. It slapped me so hard. It slapped him and tossed him into the clouds, and for a second, he felt he might never come back to Earth. He got hit with enough voltage for his clothes to be burned to ashes as he wore them. And if he hadn't had the presence of mind to jump into the scummy green pond where he kept 2 pet ducks, he'd have been burnt up alive. So I guess jumping into water helps? Like,
I guess, yeah. Or you're
Weird.
just singed. I guess you're just your skin is just burning.
yeah. Ugh. His eyebrows never grew back.
Oh.
And he never again had to shave, but after that day, he never had a drink again. Not a single shot of whiskey, not one short, cold beer. All right, so now here we go. We're getting some page numbers now. So this is pages 203 to 205. Sonny Hallett stuck to coffee, never less than 2 pots of thick black stuff a day. And because of this, he was ready, willing, and able to take Gary in when his parents couldn't care for him any longer. Gary's parents were well-intentioned but young and addicted to trouble and alcohol. They both ended up dead long before they should have. Gary's mother had been gone for a year when the news came through about his father, and that very day Sonny walked into the courthouse downtown and announced to the county clerk that his son and daughter-in-law had killed themselves, which was more or less the truth if you consider a drinking-related death a suicide, and that he wished to become Gary's legal guardian. As Gary drives through this suburban neighborhood, he's thinking that his grandfather would have liked this area of New York much. Lightning could come up and surprise you here. What? Oh, he wouldn't have liked this area.
Yeah. He would have really liked the lightning strikes.
Area? Shouldn't he have PTSD from all this fucking lightning?
I cannot imagine watching an Arizona lightning storm, just like rolling storms, and like everything's so vast.
Open.
It's terrifyingly beautiful.
Yeah,
right?
Nature is a scary beast, but it is very beautiful. I was gonna say something. So his parents, I guess he was an orphan, Gary, at some point, just like Sally and Gillian.
Yeah, interesting. It never says directly that did they both really die? Or was he saying that they're so incapable, they're just gonna drink themselves to death. I'm just gonna get this kid out of there before
maybe
that happens, and then they just cut ties?
Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it says that he told the county clerk that his son and daughter-in-law killed themselves, which says which was more or less the truth. So maybe they did drink themselves to death, or maybe they, were still alive but had drinking problems. So maybe,
Wouldn't that be a crazy fan fiction where like Sally and Gary are living happily ever after, and then his parents show up?
Holy shit! We should write that fan fiction.
Okay.
We should do it.
Oh, man. Okay.
His parents show up. Oh my God.
Oh man. And then they're struggling with their alcoholism, and Sally's like, I know I can fix them. And Gary's like, you can't fix what's already broken. I don't know. Go ahead.
Who would you cast as his parents in that case?
Ooh. I never watched that Shameless show, but that dad.
William H. Macy.
100%.
You know who the mom would be?
Who?
Do you know, did you ever watch 6 Feet Under?
No, I can look it up.
6 Feet Under, Brenda and Billy's mom. She's a fucking nut job. I forget what her name is though.
Margaret Chenoweth?
Yeah, Margaret Chenoweth. Her.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, she'd be a good one.
She plays a good crazy lady.
Okay. Cool.
I could totally see her.
They have to be older though. Is what's her name still alive? Yeah, because if Gary's like 40,
yeah,
it'd have to be at least their 60s, right? What was that lady who we were talking about in The Exorcism? The lady who plays Yaya Sisterhood. Older,
Ellen Burstyn.
Ellen Burstyn.
I would think she's maybe too old though, but maybe at this point, I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah, she does. She also plays a really good crazy lady.
Mm-hmm.
Moving right along, page 206. Gary is working on a preliminary inquiry begun by the Attorney General's office, where he's been an investigator for 7 years. Before that, he had a background of wrong choices. He was tall and lanky and could have considered basketball as a possibility, but although he was dogged enough, he didn't have the raw aggression needed for professional sports. In the end, he went back to college, thought about law school, then decided against spending all those years studying in closed rooms. The result is that he's doing what he's best at anyway, which is figuring things out. What sets him apart from most of his colleagues is that he likes murder. He likes it well. He likes it so well that his friends rib him and call him the Mexican turkey vulture, a carrion creature that hunts by scent. Gary doesn't mind the kidding, and he doesn't mind that most people have an easy answer that allows them to believe they gotten a fix on the reason why he's so interested in homicide.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Are they calling him, is a Mexican turkey vulture like a specific, like to Arizona animal, or is he supposed to be Hispanic and we just never see that? We saw that in the Sudbury show. They made him a person of color.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're right.
But is he supposed to be not a white guy?
I don't know. He's never given, is he given any descriptors?
No, just tall and lanky.
Okay. I'm under the impression that the Mexican turkey vulture, it says it's a carrion creature that hunts by scent. So maybe they're just giving him like this like likeness to this animal that's its superpower. It just knows how to find somebody just just staying on an animal's trail enough to hunt them down.
Okay.
So that's how I took that anyway.
Okay.
And that's exactly what he does with Jimmy. He hunts him down. He finds him even after he's dead, right?
He makes a few kerfuffles along the way,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, give or take.
nothing an exorcism can't fix.
Right. But that's fascinating that he's so taken by homicide and murder and trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if that has anything to do with his past of like coming from a broken home.
Yeah, I wonder if his grandfather ever told him the truth about his parents.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
he might never even know the truth.
Mm-hmm.
So, page 206 to 207. But the circumstances of Gary's past aren't what drives him, no matter what his friends think. It's figuring out the why of things. The final factor that makes a person act can be so damn elusive, but you can always find some motivation if you look hard enough. The wrong word said at the wrong time, a gun in the wrong hand, the wrong woman who kisses you just right, Sally, money, love, or fury. Those are the causes for most everything. You can usually uncover the truth or a version of it at any rate if you ask enough questions, if you close your eyes and imagine the way it might have been, how you might have reacted if you had enough, if you just couldn't find it in you to care anymore. Pages 207 to 208. Gary is 32.
32?
So that's pretty young. So
that's really young.
So I think he could have totally had Brenda's mother in 6 Feet Under as a mom, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, because she was only she probably was in her maybe 50s or 60s at the time of 6 Feet Under.
Yeah, but they really aged him for the movie with Aiden.
I think they aged her too. She might have been younger in real life, but in the show, she was she seemed a little older.
Okay.
Pages 207 to 208. Gary is 32 when he vaguely remembers Hawkins, Jimmy, an older guy the girls used to whisper about. After dropping out of high school, Hawkins got into trouble in various states, Oklahoma for a while, then Tennessee, before returning to his hometown and getting sent to the lockup on charges of criminal assault, which, along with drugs, seems to be his forte. Talking about Jimmy James Hawkins. I always thought it was interesting that he was a schoolmate. Gary and Jimmy were schoolmates in the book.
Yeah, I guess Jimmy was a few grades ahead of him.
Yeah, that's what it seems like. They went to the same school. And I guess they had beef. So
this gives us an idea then. Okay, so say the biggest span of age. Gary is a freshman, Jimmy's a senior.
Right. So at least 4 years distance.
So Jimmy's only 36 when all this happens. Remember we were trying to figure out how old Jillian's supposed to be? How old is Jimmy supposed to be? In the book at least, he's mid-30s.
Right. And you said Jillian's 36, right? Didn't they celebrate her birthday? Or no, was that
I don't remember. 32?
Yeah. I need to reread this book again.
I know.
All right, so pages 208 to 209. The letter was crumpled and torn in one corner, and if the flap hadn't already been opened, Gary would have just taken it over to the office. But an open letter in his hand is hard to resist, even for someone like Gary, who's resisted a lot in his life. His friends know enough not to offer him a beer, just as they know not to ask him about the girl he was married to. Oh, he was married. He was married?
I forgot about that.
I don't remember that detail.
He comes out of the woodwork too, along with the parents.
Yeah, they show up together. Okay, who plays the ex-wife?
Ooh, oh, what the fuck's her name? Who was in Sudbury? Who was playing Gillian?
Oh, yeah,
Ryan.
Jerry Ryan.
Because she's so pretty, but she could probably be like a little desert scummy too if she wanted to.
I could totally see that. Or the chick that was in that blonde chick that was in The Devil's Rejects. Isn't that Rob Zombie's wife?
Is it really?
I thought so. I think so. I know I could be wrong, but that chick.
Okay.
Okay, so they were married right after high school. So this was probably high school sweetheart, and that didn't work out. Mm-hmm. So they're willing to do this because this friendship is worth it. They know that Gary will never deceive them or disappoint them. That's the way he's built. That's the way his grandfather raised him. But this letter was something else. It tempted him, and he gave into it. And if he's going to be honest, he still doesn't regret it. Is he a Sagittarius?
I was gonna say, yeah, he's giving me more Sag now.
He might have a little earth and fire in his chart. Okay, so pages 209 to 210. Until Sonny died, Gary had always shared a house with his grandfather, except for his brief marriage and the first 8 years with his parents, which he doesn't remember out of sheer willpower. But he remembers everything about his grandfather. He knew what time Sonny would get out of bed in the morning and when he'd go to sleep, and what he'd eaten for breakfast, which was invariably shredded wheat on weekdays, and on Sundays, pancakes, spread with molasses and jam. So he's had a history of whipped pancakes. Pancakes are his shtick.
Yeah, how about that?
So that must be an homage to his grandfather or an Easter egg in the movie pertaining to the grandfather in the book.
Cute.
Because we didn't have a Gary grandfather in the movie.
Mm-mm.
Right. And I also think it's interesting how they mentioned the molasses, because remember the spell that Owens did on Sally to get her legs to open up.
The screenwriters knew what they were doing.
They knew what they were doing. So Gary has been close to people and has a whole town full of friends, but he never once felt he'd known anyone the way he felt he knew the woman who wrote this letter. It was as if someone had ripped off the top of his head and hooked a piece of his soul. Page 211. When Sally swings the door open, Gary looks into her eyes and sees himself upside down. He finds himself in a pool of gray light, drowning, going down for the third time, and there's not a damn thing he can do about it. His grandfather told him once that witches caught you in this way. They knew, I like how his grandfather just knew about witches.
All about the witches.
All about
Just like
them.
Griffin Dunn. All about witches.
Yeah. They knew how much most men love themselves and how deeply they'll let themselves be drawn in just for a glimpse of their own image. If you ever come face to face with a woman like this, his grandfather told him, turn and run, and don't judge yourself a coward. If she comes after you, if she has a weapon or screams your name like bloody murder, quickly grab her by the throat and shake her. What?
Shaker. Throat and shaker.
What stories was he reading growing up?
That's so funny.
His grandfather. He's quite the character.
Oh, Sonny.
Of course, Gary has no intention of doing anything like that. He intends to go on drowning for a very long time. Page 212. She's beautiful, all right, at least in Gary Hallett's estimation. She's exactly the way she's written down in her letter, only better and right here in front of him. Gary's got a lump in his throat just looking at her. He's already thinking about the things they could do if the two of them were alone in a room. Scandalous.
Alice.
Damn. He could forget the reasons he's come here in the first place if he's not careful. He
Fucking does. He fucking forgets really fast.
He could make a very stupid mistake. Gary hasn't had an easy life, and it shows in his face. There are deep lines he's too young to have. There's a good deal. Okay, so maybe that's why he looks older in the movie. He's meant to look weathery, right?
He is no 32.
No. There's a good deal of loneliness in full view for anyone to see. He's not the kind of man who hides things, and he's not hiding his interest in Sally right now. In fact, Sally can't believe the way he's staring at her. Would somebody really have the nerve to stand in her doorway and look at her like this? Yeah, I would be like, that's really, really creepy.
Yeah, dude.
Right? Page 214. Sally feels something wrong in her fingers and toes that is a whole lot like the edge of panic. Where did you say you were from? Well, originally Bisbee, Gary says. But I've been in Tucson for nearly 25 years. You have a note here that says Bisbee to Tucson is about an hour and a half north, and Bisbee is closer to the Mexico border?
Yep. Yeah,
okay.
I just wanted to include some geography.
Nice context. I like it. So page 217. Gary is too tall to be anything but awkward in most situations, but he's got a graceful way of crying.
Oh.
He just lets it happen. What's wrong? Sally says. What's the matter? Gary
I can hear her.
head.
Wait, pause. I can hear her being like, oh, what's wrong? Like, what the fuck, dude? You can't show up. Like, give me flirty eyes and then start bawling.
Yeah.
What the fuck is wrong with you?
What is wrong with this guy? What's the matter? Gary shakes his head. It always takes a while before he can talk. His grandfather used to say that holding back tears makes them drain upward, higher and higher, until one day your head just explodes and you're left with a stub of a neck and nothing more. Dude, his grandfather's got some...
What a card.
Yeah, exactly. Gary has cried more than most men ever will. He's done it at rodeos and courts of law. He stood by the side of the road and wept at the sight of a hawk someone has shot out of the sky before going to get a shovel from the back of his truck so he can bury the carcass.
Oh.
He's also got, is he a Cancer moon? Is he just like, he's got all the goods here. Crying in a woman's kitchen doesn't embarrass him. He's seen his grandfather's eyes fill with tears. Jesus! What? Am I having a stroke? He's seen his grandfather's eyes fill with tears nearly every time he looked at a beautiful horse or a woman with dark hair. Okay.
Oh, right.
Horses
And
and
hair.
women are his shtick, it seems
And
like.
coffee. Don't forget the coffee.
These three things really get him going. Gary wipes out his eyes with one of his big hands. It's the coffee, he explains. Is it that bad? Sally takes a sip. It's just her same old regular coffee that hasn't killed anyone yet. Oh no, Gary says. The coffee's great. His eyes are as dark as a crow's feathers. He has the ability to catch someone by the way he looks at her and make her wish he would go on looking. It's coffee in general that does this to me. I get reminded of my grandfather who died 2 years ago. He sure was addicted to coffee. Oh, he had 3 cups before he opened his eyes in the morning. You just see him breaking down over this coffee? It's just cracking me up.
Whoa.
So page 220. She's good at this, that's for sure. When Gary stands to greet her, she sticks her hand out for him to shake, just like this was a regular old social event. But when she really looks at him, when she feels his grip on her hand, Gillian gets nervous. This guy won't be easy to fool. He's seen a lot of things and heard a lot of stories, and he's smart. She could tell that just by looking at him, he may be too smart. Page 226. It's Jimmy's silver ring Gary's holding onto, and that's what's causing him such pain. They're going to lie to him, and he knows it. They're going to tell him they've never seen this ring before, or that they bought it in an antique store, or that it must have just dropped from the heavens above. Page 227. Her beautiful face is turned away because she knows something. Gary has seen it before, countless times. People who are guilty of something think they can hide it by not looking you in the eye. They presume you can read their shame, that you can see it through their eyes to their very soul, and in a way, they're right. Page 228. Then he thinks about his grandfather walking to the courthouse to legally claim him on a day when it was 112 in the shade. The air started to sizzle, the mesquite and the Russian thistle burst into flame, but Sonny Hallet had thought to bring a container of cool spring water with him, and he wasn't even tired when he walked inside the courthouse. If you go against what you believe in, you're nothing anyway, so you might as well stick to your guns. Page 231. Just thinking about Gary's gaunt face and all the worry that was there makes her chest feel even worse. She's going to find herself suffering from a stroke or angina or something before this day is through. Page 246. So this was March 8th, 1990. Was this marked March 8th in the book?
No, this is
okay.
This is the interrogation date, so I was just putting that in as a time marker.
Got it. All right, so this is the day that Gary questions Sally. When she sees Gary crossing the turnpike carrying a tub of fried chicken...
This is the chicken thing that you always call out.
She knows she could start her car and get away before he recognizes her, but she stays where she is. As she watches Gary walk in her direction, a line of heat crisscrosses itself beneath her skin. I'm wondering why they decided not to have any fried chicken in the film, though. I'm, really disappointed.
Yeah, this is such a stupid scene.
I know.
This is so dumb.
It pisses me off even more. Remember when I was reading the book again, for the first time in a long time, and I texted you and I was like, why did he leave that good bucket of chicken out in the rain?
Put it in the back seat. Oh my God.
And then you mentioned to me it was because isn't Sally a vegetarian and he didn't want to
That's right. I totally forgot.
He didn't want to offend her. You pointed that out to me and I was like, oh, you're right. That's so sweet of him.
That's so nice.
He said he ruined a
Wasn't it right at his motel room? Couldn't he have just put the chicken inside?
Why didn't they just go in the fucking hotel room? I don't know. Right? Why did they have this conversation in the car in the pouring rain? Page 247. There have been nothing but blue skies in Tucson for months, but Gary isn't bothered by a little rain. Maybe rain will cure the way he feels inside and wash away his worries. Also, later on in 247, it says, in his line of work, Gary is trained to notice things, but he can't quite believe what he's seeing now. Part of the reason for this is that he's been imagining Sally everywhere he goes. Page 248. Gary combs his wet hair back with his fingers, and for a moment, the whole car smells like rain. Have you had dinner? Yeah. Have you had dinner? He lifts the bucket of chicken. He's also got onion rings and fries. I couldn't eat, Sally tells him. Okay, so Gary opens the door and sets the bucket outside in the rain. He has definitely lost his appetite for chicken. So I guess she just tells him that she's not hungry. So
he's not hungry.
Then he's not, exactly.
Yeah, but he's like, no, me either. No, I'm not hungry.
He's just lost his appetite through osmosis, I guess.
Yeah.
Page 250. Gary Hallet is getting leg cramps sitting in the Honda, but he's not going anywhere yet. His grandfather used to tell him that most folks had it all wrong. The truth of the matter was, you could lead a horse to water, and if the water was cool enough, if it was truly clear and sweet, you wouldn't have to force him to drink.
Aren't they in her car too? So maybe he didn't want the
Oh,
smell to like smell up her car.
are they in her car?
The
I don't remember.
Honda. It's a Honda?
Is that? Yeah, I don't remember what car
Do
they were in.
Hondas make station wagons?
I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, keep going.
Tonight, Gary feels a whole lot more like the horse than the rider. He has stumbled into love, and now he's stuck there. He's fairly used to not getting what he wants, and he's dealt with it. Yet, he can't help but wonder if that's only because he didn't want anything too badly. Well, he does now. He looks out at the parking lot. By afternoon, he'll be back where he belongs. His dogs will go crazy when they see him.
He's
His
got
mail.
dogs.
Yeah, he doesn't have any ties in the
Who's
movie,
taking
right?
care of the dogs?
Right. His mail will be waiting outside his front door. The milk in his refrigerator will still be fresh enough to use in his coffee. The hitch is, he doesn't want to go. He'd rather be here, crammed into this tiny Honda, his stomach growling with hunger. His desire so bad, he doesn't know if he could stand up straight. His eyes are burning hot, and he knows he can never stop himself when he's going to cry.
Oh
He
God.
better not even try.
Oh God.
Page 251. This is what it must be like to be drunk, Sally finds herself thinking. So I guess Sally's never drank? She's
I
never.
guess not. She's a
Yeah,
very
I
good
guess.
girl.
I guess she sees like, the cause of like, because Jillian clearly, not that, I don't know, does it say Jillian drank in the book? I don't know.
I don't think so.
No? I'm just thinking in the movie, she sees like what kind of effect alcohol has had on everybody around her. Um,
Sally's very granola in
yeah,
this book.
totally. So she doesn't know what it's like to be drunk, apparently. So she finds herself thinking this as Gary presses against her. His hands are on her skin,
Oh
and she doesn't stop him.
damn.
They're under her t-shirt.
Oh no.
They're into her shorts,
Oh,
and still she doesn't stop him.
oh.
She wants the heat he's making her feel. She, who can't function without directions and a map, wants to get lost right now. She could feel herself giving into his kisses. She's ready to do just about anything. This is what it must be like to be crazy, she guesses. Everything she's doing is so unlike her usual self that when Sally catches sight of her image in the cloudy side view mirror, she's stunned. It's a woman who could fall in love if she let herself, a woman who doesn't stop Gary when he lifts her dark hair away, then presses his mouth to the hollow of her throat. This is what it's like when a woman writes a love scene.
That's fucking right.
Because
Yes.
that's what we all want.
Yeah. Just move my hair away, please.
Yeah, just do the little, yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And like the pushback of the wet hair.
Uh-huh,
Ugh.
uh-huh. Oh, God, I need to take a sip.
Oh, stop.
Getting all flustered.
I don't need this sweater anymore.
Take the sweater off. Page 252. At this moment, Gary wishes he could grab her and force her at least until she gave in. Okay, that's a little rapey, Gary. It's a little rapey. He'd like to make love to her right here. He'd like to do it all night and not give a damn about anything else and not listen if she told him no. Okay, for sure.
Yeah, yikes.
What
But
the fuck? That took a turn. But he's not that kind of man. And he never, okay. Conscience.
Plot twist.
Conscience. Right. And he's not the kind of man. He never will be. He's seen too many lives go wrong when a man allows himself to be led around by his dick. Okay. Alice said it.
Yeah.
Alice said it. It's like giving into drugs or alcohol or the fast cash you've got to have. No questions asked. Gary has always understood why people give in and do as they please with no thought of anyone else. Their minds shut off, and he's not going to do that, even if it means he won't get what he really wants. Okay, for sure,
Gary.
he's definitely an earth sign. He's grounded. He knows right from wrong. He listens
doing all
to
the
his
right things.
conscience. He does the right things.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No real impulse there. He thinks these things, but he never acts on his impulses.
I'm just like flippy floppy now. Is Virgo Earth sign?
Yes, but I don't think he's a Virgo. Virgos
think
are
he's-
like super, like male Virgos anyway. I've come across in my day.
Okay.
I've
Don't
come
they always
across a
wanna do
few.
like the right thing?
Yeah, but Virgos kind of just do what the fuck they want. I don't think they give any regard for. I
Okay.
think he must be a Taurus. I think he must be. He's got to be a Taurus. I think.
You think so? Because like he doesn't seem to really care about like the creature comforts. That's what makes me think he's a Capricorn, because he's like
Okay.
diligent and he knows like
That's
the
true.
structure and the rules.
All right, let's go.
Doing the right thing.
Let's go with the Capricorn.
Okay.
I'm thinking I'm feeling Capricorn.
Okay. Is he a December cap or is he a January cap?
Maybe he is erring on the side of the December cap because that's coming right off the heels of Sagittarius.
There we
And
go.
I'm thinking he's got a little bit of fire in him. Maybe he's
There
on
we
the
go.
cusp.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see. Yeah.
I agree.
All right. So, page 253. As Gary understands it, the greatest portion of grief is the one you dish out for yourself, and he and Sally have both served themselves from the same table tonight. The only difference being that he knows what he's missing, and she has no idea of what's causing her to cry as she drives down the turnpike. And we just have a couple more here. This one's on page 282. For more than 2 months, the sisters had been waiting to see what Gary would do with the information Sally had given him. They'd been moody and distant from everyone except each other. Then at last, a letter came, registered mail from someone named Arno Williams. Who the fuck's Arno Williams? James Hawkins, he wrote, was dead. The body had been found in the desert, where he must have been holed up for months, and in some kind of drunken stupor, he'd rolled into his campfire and been burned beyond recognition. The only way they'd been able to identify him after he'd been brought down to the morgue was through his silver ring, which had melted somewhat and which was now being sent to Gillian, along with a certified check for $800 for the sale of the Oldsmobile they'd impounded, since Jimmy had listed her as the only next of kin. I like how, like, Jimmy was actually, like, thinking of Gillian in his will. Like, what?
I know.
What?
He's a mixed bag.
Yeah, man. Down at the Department of Motor Vehicles, which in any way was more or less the truth. Gary Hallet, GERPER-HURRLITT, Gillian said right away. He slipped that ring to some dead guy who couldn't be identified. You know what this means, don't you? He just wanted to see that justice was done, and it has been. He's completely hooked. Gillian couldn't seem to let this go. And so are you. Will you please shut up? Sally had said. So there's Gillian calling it like she sees it. And then the last, this was the last mention in Practical Magic, the first book, page 285. It can't be what Sally thinks. What she thinks she sees is Gary Hallet out in the garden, crouching down, digging at the cabbages, and that just cannot be. Well, look who's here, Gillian says, pleased. They did it, Sally says, with a dove's heart. As soon as he sees Sally, Gary stands, a scarecrow in a black coat who doesn't know whether or not he should wave. They did not, Gillian says to Sally. They didn't have anything to do with it. But Sally doesn't care if Gillian phoned Gary last week and asked what on earth he was waiting for. It doesn't matter if he's had the aunt's address folded into his coat pocket ever since that phone call. By the time she runs down the Bluestone path, it doesn't make a bit of a difference what people think or what they believe. There are some things, after all, that Sally Owens knows for certain. Always throw spilled salt over your left shoulder, keep rosemary by your garden gate, add pepper to your mashed potatoes, plant roses and lavender for luck, fall in love whenever you can. So
it's so good.
Yeah. So that very last scene that takes place back on Magnolia Street at
That's
the
what I was just thinking. Do they go there for Thanksgiving? That's why they go and check on Irene. I guess because they grew up on Magnolia Street and
right. So they're back in their old stomping ground. They're back in town.
Yeah, because he knew where Sally lived.
Right.
She wrote the letter from her house.
All right, and then he only takes place a couple more times in Book of Magic, which is the very last book in the series. And Alice kind of wrapped up his whole storyline in 3 passages.
Like a shitty way.
What the fuck, Alice?
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. There's only 3 here. So page 7. Sally didn't speak for a year after his death. So this is years now after the first book, Practical Magic.
This is like her thing. Like her husband dies and she doesn't talk for a year. Because she did that with Michael too in the book.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right?
So this book takes place now. The girls are a little older, like late teens, college years, kind of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Sally didn't speak for a year after his death, but she tried again with her second husband.
Oh, wait. Sorry. We should have read that whole thing first.
All right. So this is talking about Michael. She didn't speak for a year after Michael's death, but then she tried again with her second husband, Gary Hallet, a man she could depend on until he'd passed away just a few years after their marriage.
That is such a like Band-Aid rip. Like right there until he passed away. That's like, what? There was no lead up. No nothing.
No
That's
lead
what
up.
Happened.
Alice just spills that tea, like
just rips the rug.
7 pages into the book.
Right.
No setup.
We never got a peek into their life together.
Yeah, she did Gary wrong in this book.
Poor Gary.
I think I was hoping that, that last book would have just been their love story,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Them fighting battles together, detective work together.
That would have been so cool.
Yeah. Cool. But didn't we think that she was an earth sign too?
Yeah.
2 earth signs together. We said she was probably a Virgo, right?
I think for sure she's got a lot of like anal tendencies. Like she's just very anal
Yeah.
and very nitpicky, right? Yeah.
Especially in the book, for sure.
Right, right. So Gary had been afflicted with a childhood congenital heart disease that had finally caught up to him, but Sally was convinced his death had been activated by the family curse, for Gary had always seemed to be as healthy as he was strong. He had come from Arizona to work on the local police force, preferring a horse to a patrol car, and he and his tall, good-natured bay, Jack, were known and beloved in town. Gary would rather give someone a second chance than arrest him, and the children in town begged to visit old Jack at the police station on the far side of Endicott Street, bringing sugar cubes and carrots. How was it possible for a man like Gary Hallet to kiss his wife goodnight, close his eyes, and never wake again? What the fuck? That's so sad.
It's so sad.
His horse had died of grief 2 nights later, lying
put
down.
salt in that wound.
Oh my god! Ugh, my heart hurts.
Yeah.
His horse died of grief 2 nights later, lying down on the earthen floor of the stable. Sally was stunned and devastated, and some people said she had lost a piece of her heart. Yeah. Do you think it's the horse with the, in the movie, the horse that he's sitting on as a kid? It's got like the star in its ass.
Oh
it's
my
like
God.
Got the star print on the
live. I don't think that would have been the same horse.
You don't think so?
I don't know what life expectancy is.
What's
I would
the
think like a
lifespan
dog.
of a horse? Hold on.
Look
Now
that
I need
up.
to
I'm
look
gonna
this
say
up.
like 10 years.
25 to 30 years.
Oh my God.
They live a human fucking
No
life.
way.
Like a human life in like the 1600s.
Right. But to be an active like patrol horse,
Yeah.
like, as an old horse. Oh my God.
So that was the same horse he had as a kid, probably.
We can think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So good old Jack. So page 16. A fiddler was playing enthusiastically in the bar. I hope it wasn't the Wayside Inn because apparently that's illegal, right?
I don't remember. This was early on. This must have been the rabbit, the black.
Oh, the Black Rabbit Inn, maybe?
Yeah. Isn't that where they go for jets? Like.
Yeah, that last book, they were there like all the time, right?
Yeah.
It was like the set of Cheers. Like they were always at that fucking bar.
Yeah.
A fiddler was playing enthusiastically in the bar. It was the kind of rousing, rowdy song Gary would have liked. Once he'd moved to Massachusetts, he'd missed the desert where he'd grown up and the untamed country he'd known. He enjoyed standing outside with Sally before they went to bed to gaze at the stars and point out constellations, even in the dead of winter. Gary had never believed in curses or bad luck, and he'd considered fairy tales to be stories for children. Sally had loved his fearless attitude and the way he'd made her feel so safe, even though she knew what the world was and always had been a dangerous place. What was wicked grew with the ferocity of the bramble, cut it down, and it rose up again with even deeper roots.
I like how Alice threw in that he never believed in curses, just like when he's like, well, I don't.
Yeah. Curses only have power if you believe in them. Yeah.
And I
don't. All right, so then this is the last passage. This wraps up Gary's entire storyline in the books. So page 93. She had never been told about the Death Watch beetle and was too young to remember her mother tearing the floor apart in search of just such a horrid creature before her own father met with his accident. Kylie hadn't been told that there had been the same clicking in the stable where Gary Hallet had kept his horse, although Gary had insisted it was the echo of wood settling, refusing to believe it marked the time of his death. Still, the sound itself was unnerving. And like, wasn't Michael like in denial too? Like he just like, oh, it's fine, I'm fine.
Right. Yeah, and that was what I was gonna say. Again, her roping in the movie with the tearing the floor apart, but you and I were like, did they break the curse at the end of the movie? They did not. Because here comes another book where the Death Watch beetle is in their lives.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lori.
Yeah, I know. Lori's going hard with that theory. She's like, it's definitely broken. It's definitely broken in the film because they say the joining of their hands breaks the... But, like, there's so much other...
Maybe.
In the film, maybe. Well, yeah, you only have, like, what, an hour and a half to, like, wrap up a storyline? Yeah. So, of course, like, they're going to put some kind of, like, they're going to try to wrap it up in some way. But I feel like it's still a little open-ended. Like, even Sally's like, was it the curse?
Which I like. It gives them room to make other things if they chose to, right? It gave them a little bit of wiggle room.
Right. So it was never a definitive, like, yes, that broke the curse. It was Sally's like, I'd like to believe so, which to me, that still kind of casts a little bit of doubt, you know? So, yeah, I don't know. And like, again, why would their joined hands in an exorcism ruin a centuries-long curse? Sorry, Lori, because I know she She really wants to believe that the curse is broken, but I don't know. There's still so much that says to me that it's not. Especially if we're looking at how things turned out in the books, which I
Right.
know the two worlds are completely different and
Yeah.
separate, but in my mind, I know I'm trying to see like parallels between the two worlds.
I agree.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's dive
Anyway,
into the movie.
yeah, tell us about the movie.
Again, I only got through like 3/4 of these, so we're gonna just riff it toward the end.
That's
I
fine.
was just we're just describing what scenes he shows up in when he shows up. Okay.
Right.
So he does, Gary, Aidan Quinn, shows up in the movie 55 minutes, 38 seconds into the film, where he can be seen walking down the bluestone path past the garden into the backyard, wearing his little corduroy jacket and his sunglasses. However, as we discovered in one of our past episodes, Justina found this, Gary can actually be seen prior to this at 44 minutes, 41 seconds. He's standing outside that fish market questioning the townsfolk. So is this reused footage that they popped in later into the film, or did he show up and start asking questions before he visited the Owens house? Right?
Mm-hmm. That's a good analyzation, like just to ponder, like was he making his way around the town a little more stealthily before he made his presence known to the girls?
Right. Because
No?
once he met Sally face to face, all bets were off. He was not doing his job very well.
Not at all. Not at all.
So he sees Sally in the back of the house. She's cutting the roses down and says, "A little early for roses, isn't it?" 1 second.
All right.
Aaron says, "Can I bring you whiskey and hot chocolate in a couple of minutes?" Yes,
Aw.
please.
Yeah. Can I have some?
Hell yeah. Bring
Can
some
you-
for Justina.
You pass it through the screen?
A little early for roses, isn't it? Classic Gary. Okay. And they have their little introductions before he asks to speak to Sally's sister. He doesn't say her name, right?
No.
Oh, he does. "I want to talk to your sister, Gillian." So Sally says she'll go and get her, and then questions, how does Gary know that they're sisters?
Right.
He's poking around the roses before she invites him to come inside. Because they had just seen the boots, right?
Can I just say, before she goes inside, she goes, "How do you know she's my sister?" And he's like kneeling down, right? Like Prince Charming stance.
Yeah.
He's got a rose up to his fucking nose, and he's like, his head is down. His head is down into this fucking rose. His eyes just peek up at her, and he's like, "Look, you guess, I guess."
Yeah.
Like, what?
Just, why are you being so
Panties?
coy?
Panties dropped right then and there.
We love a man of mystery. Yeah, check out the
Yeah.
Listen Now picture. It's that. That's what she's talking about.
That look gets me every time.
It's those blue eyes, man.
Green and blue.
Yeah, yeah. But we don't see that green one until they didn't bother with most of the movie until that one scene.
That one scene where it's like very close up, and I think it was even like digitally enhanced. I don't think he really
Right.
has.
And you can
heterochromia.
only see it like flicker when he
Yeah.
looks a certain way.
Yeah.
So Sally goes inside, she runs upstairs, talks to Gillian, and when she comes back down to the kitchen, Gary's already poking around the greenhouse. If they came in the back door of the kitchen where Sally was walking up, he felt comfortable enough to start nosing around in other rooms, right?
Right. Yeah.
So he does his questioning. He asks if he can look around the house. He shares those files about Phoebe Stone. We see him go outside. He scoops the contents, the little black remnants. He doesn't know what it is yet, but he collects
Right.
it.
Ziploc
Evidence
baggie?
bag.
Yeah.
And then they tow the car away. The next time we see him, he's roaming around town. He's questioning the townsfolk. He's having ice cream. He's buying bath products, right? He's so comfy there. Like he's a chocolate guy, right? He had a little chocolate ice cream talking to the rest of the folks.
He's making himself right at home in this small
Yeah.
little podunk town.
Yeah.
Right?
So by this time, I think Sally's just having a rough day because fucking Dwight
Dwight.
comes in and
Fucking
gives her a
Dwight.
hard time, right? So she's already at the end of her rope. So she follows Gary out after he makes his purchase. She's tired of being tailed, so she confronts him, and he basically invites himself over for breakfast. I think he's very good at his job and like manipulating the situation, but you trust him so much that it doesn't come off weird.
Right. Because he's an earth sign and he's got that grounding quality about people feel comfortable around him. Even though Sally's a little put off by like his appearance in this town, and she knows why he's there. That's why it's her guilty conscience. But like there's just something about his presence that's just like comforting, maybe. You know?
She's like, fine.
Yeah.
Fine.
Fine.
She's taken aback, right?
Right, yeah. But she can't resist his I guess him inviting himself over for breakfast.
Mm-mm. And maybe that's like a like a southern thing. Like it
Maybe.
just that's probably normal
Yeah.
for him.
Yeah, but like on the like I guess the northeast coast,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people just keep to themselves, and
Mm-hmm.
like, people on the east coast don't really want to be bothered with that
No,
like
do not come to
southern,
my house.
southern hospitality. Get the
You don't
fuck
even
off my
need to
porch.
call me. Just send me a text. Yeah.
Exactly. Sally's like, "What? You want to come over for breakfast?"
Now I
Okay.
gotta clean.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the next morning he arrives. Little Antonia answers the door and invites him inside. And he's honest with her when she asks if he has a gun. He does say yes. And then he's very firm with those responsible instincts to give the firm no when she asks to see said gun. And I
I
think
would
we
hope
can,
so.
yeah, I think we can give him some props there. When he's around the little ones, he makes better decisions than when he's around Sally, right?
Oh, for sure.
And I could see like just him standing there with his hands in his pockets. He doesn't really say no, but he looks up. He's like, "Oh, what would mom say?" And then he goes, "Mm-mm." He shakes his head and you can't see that gun.
Yep.
Which is really sweet. It's really sweet
Yeah.
between them. So the minute he is inside, he goes straight back to the greenhouse, doesn't he, and starts poking around. There's a shabby chic table on the left where he's kind of perusing. There's all these like beautiful green botanicals. There's vases. There's like blown glasswork and small plants. There is just one dark apothecary bottle, which he is like drawn to. He's magnetized to, and that's the first thing he picks up. And of course, that's the belladonna, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are
Yeah.
no other bottles like that anywhere else in that greenhouse.
Interesting.
How
I
did
didn't
that
catch
get
that.
there? Do you think Jimmy put that bottle there? How did that bottle get there?
How'd it get there?
I don't know. Why would that be? I mean, I'm sure that the aunts and Sally and Gillian are safe, and they teach the girls safe practices, but I
Right.
probably would not leave belladonna out
Laying
where a child
around.
could reach it.
Oh, for sure. And like, so he was in the greenhouse. So that was just like out in the open in the greenhouse. It wasn't like locked away in the apothecary cabinet.
Right. Because we don't
Which-
see any other. I mean, they have a work table in the middle that has like candle stuff and like different
Right.
blown glass beakers and things, but
Mhm.
we don't see anything like that, which
Right.
is interesting to me.
Yeah, especially because in the book, I think it was Rules of Magic when Alice kind of made it a point that the aunts keep all of the nightshade stuff locked away in the shed in the backyard. Like it's not
Right.
even in the house.
Right.
So good point. Good catch.
Interesting.
Good catch.
Perfect timing, buddy. Thank you. Justina wanted one too.
Can I get one of those?
And it'll be up there. It'll take a while.
It might be
Thanks.
cold.
Yeah.
Thanks, hon.
Ooh, that looks so cozy.
Oh my god.
So it's whiskey in hot chocolate.
Oh yeah.
Wow, wow,
Damn. Go make yourself some.
I have a cold brew here. I can't get too toasted. I have work in like a couple
that's true.
hours. I would love to. I can't wait to like go back to the Wayside Inn and just have like a cozy like Irish coffee or something.
Would you be down to stay there?
Yeah,
Okay.
that'd be so fucking cool.
I
I don't
think we
know if we'd be able to get into I'm sure there's a waiting list to get into her suite.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if I would necessarily want to stay in a room where a ghost is gonna like tickle my feet and like fuck with me.
know.
So
I know. Yeah, I'm good staying in one of the other rooms. That's fine.
yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So Sally is up front with Gary when he picks it up. He doesn't ask. First of all, she just tells him, right? She says it's belladonna and what it's used for, but I want to revisit what she says exactly. She says people put it in their tea to relax, calm their nerves, and I'm like, Sally, Gary knows this is bullshit. Like, go listen to our belladonna episode.
Yeah.
There is no way in hell I would be putting belladonna in my tea to relax and calm your nerves. You use valerian for that shit.
Right.
Belladonna?
That's pretty hardcore to just take the edge off.
Yeah.
But as we have discovered, people make chocolate truffles with them and they microdose with this to take the
Right.
edge off. So
But don't they
I
use
don't
it for
know.
more like ritualistic experiences?
I guess so. But I mean, it's not like ayahuasca. It's not going to make you like throw up your life and
It'll just
like
kill
have
you.
like a revelation. Yeah, like if you take too much of it, it will kill you. But I mean, people are microdosing on these truffle chocolates with belladonna and it's a thing. I don't know. So maybe people or some people, which people use it to, get a little, shut eye,
Shut
as
eye.
Jillian says. Exactly.
Yeah.
But another thing that kind of makes my mind go is like now that he has this bottle in his hand that he just found laying on a counter in the greenhouse, you think he'd like actually want to see what it looks like? And like, don't you think he picked this up right after he dusted the seeds off the car
Wouldn't you
seat?
want to compare? He probably already sent it to the lab.
Yeah, but he knows what it looks like. You think he would have seen it like in the bottle, like what it looks like? Like,
Yeah.
this looks like the same seed I just dusted off the car in the previous scene. I don't know.
Maybe he already knew. Maybe he already got the results back from what was in the car.
But it was the same day. How would he have? Wasn't it?
No,
Oh, no.
it was the days after.
Days after.
Yeah. But he calls her out, right?
Yeah.
So we get those little truths from her at this point also. And Sally tells them in a way that makes them sound like they're made up, right? Such as like, you should come around here on Halloween. You'd really see something then. I'll jump off the roof and fly. And then she's
We
like,
kill our husbands too. Yeah. Yeah. Are you hiding Jimmy Angela? Not in this house. Like literally, it wasn't in the house, but
Right. Did you or your sister kill James Angelo?
A couple times.
Not a lie.
And then you brought up something to me. You were like, because she literally can't lie to him. And I was like, oh, yeah. Like, I thought she was just being like a sarcastic asshole, but she literally can't lie to him.
Yeah. No. And it's interesting. I didn't even think of that until we did this. Because she says, like, oh, I don't think I can lie to him. But that to me was just her good natured, authority figure relationship. She would.
But literally, she can't lie to him because he's the guy in her spell. She just doesn't know it yet.
Yep. And then you pointed out that the end of the film, was this in our All Hallows Eve episode where you were like, they do jump off the roof and fly. Did they really do that years prior, or was that just hearsay? But you were saying that is like poking fun at Gary, like making him the butt of the joke, right?
Yeah, because like she wanted to show them like, yeah, we really do jump off our roof and fly.
Right. Gary then offers to help Antonia make the pancakes, and this is when the younger girls start to notice that Gary has some of those special qualities within him that Sally in her youth had included in her wish, her Amas Veritas spell when she was younger. Antonia overheard this, right? Because Kylie was showing Gillian the little notebook. She had already read the lines. Do you think Kylie talked to Antonia before? Because they don't really read out, oh, he can ride a pony backwards. Yeah, his favorite shape will be a star. Do you think they talked prior to this, like, oh, look what I found, and then Antonia read it? Because she's noticing the pancake thing. She's hearing him whistle that same tune as her. Maybe,
but I don't know, because Kylie was busy helping Gillian in the herb closet, helping make up the syrup. So I don't know. There could have been a little stretching or point in time between the syrup scene and them actually going outside to sit for breakfast when they actually start noticing all these things.
I'm wondering if it would been before this day, because Kylie would have found that little notebook prior to this day, and maybe the sister's like, oh, look what I got.
I think we should write a fan fiction about how Kylie even found that journal, because I'm like, where does she find? Because Jillian's like, oh, where did you get that? And she never answers her.
No.
She never answers her. So I'm like, where did she get that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah, you're right. Who knows how long she had that journal before she even presented it to Gillian? And who knew how long she was like marveling over these pages and like what was in these pages? And I'm sure she shared that with her sister.
Yeah,
like, look what I found.
I'm sure it was in the debris that is in the attic, because that's probably not something, as a grown woman, when Sally moves away to move in with Michael, probably not something she would take, but definitely something.
That's really funny. That's funny you say that, because all of my teenage journals are right here on this shelf. I have everything I've ever written.
I've lost so many journals that were like half written in.
I have all of them.
That's
every
amazing.
Single one of them. Yeah, I told you I'm a pack rat. I can't get rid of anything, but I'm glad that I am, though, because like sometimes when I want something for a point of reference, or like it's there, like I have that reference.
So funny.
I have my back catalog.
Their future song lyrics.
Exactly.
All right, Taylor Swift. So some things that Sally had included on those pages, of course, his favorite shape will be a star. He has the star badge. He can ride a pony backwards. She asks him, and Tony asks him, can you ride a pony backwards, forwards, you name it.
Yeah.
He and Sally are whistling the same tune, which is the Old Gray Mare, which we could talk about in an episode.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
He's flipping pancakes in the shape of swirl cactuses. Well, they're one big family in this scene. So they sit down to breakfast, right? And Gillian goes straight to offering the Nigella syrup, which is either going to banish Gary or give him some kind of intense amnesia.
Yes.
If you would like to know more about the Nigella, go to episode 43. And Tony and Kylie snag the syrup before Gary lays his fingers on it, and they chuck it in the ocean. This doesn't alarm Gary. He gets up, they watch them throw it in the ocean. I think this should have raised his little spidey senses a little bit. No.
Yeah.
It's not even when the frog burps up a metal object. They all go over and look at it, but it's not until he sees that it's the skull ring design that his mind pings, and then he says out loud, "What do you two think you're playing at here?" Like, oh yeah, like, I'm not just here for breakfast, right? I forgot about this guy, this fucking psycho killer.
Do you think that, you know, in the midst of all the magic of that making breakfast together and playing family for those like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, however long he was there before the shit hit the fan, do you think in his mind he forgot why he was there? He was just
I think
happy
he was
to be
bewitched.
a part of this family.
Right.
Because if we know what we know in the books, he was an orphan, right? His grandfather had passed away, so ultimately he doesn't really have anybody.
Right.
So I think maybe for a little bit, he just kind of really forgot why he was even there. And he was just happy to be, you know, a part of this little family. And maybe he always wanted to be a father. And he just saw these two little girls who didn't have a father anymore. And he just wanted to step in that role for maybe 20
slid
minutes.
right into that role.
Yeah. But, you know, shit turned around real fast when he was like, oh, shit, that's why I'm here. The ring. Yes, that's why I'm here. Okay, get yourselves a goddamn lawyer. Okay, I'm leaving now.
Yeah, totally.
Before this takes a turn that I don't want it, because, like, you know, she's a suspect.
But he cares about them.
He does care about them. But she's
into their lives. Like, he doesn't want it to be them. So he's
right.
Like, get a lawyer, girls.
Yeah, but there's that, you know, Capricorn, I guess, earth sign conscious in the back of his mind, like doing what's right. Like, I cannot be involved with my suspect. So he hightails out of there right away.
Right.
But that doesn't last long, as we all know.
No. Yeah, speaking of which, this is where my notes ran out, so we can just, from memory. Okay. I figured we could just do this from memory anyway. So do you want to take it from here?
Jesus. Okay. So we all know what happens after that scene. He leaves. He goes back to his Airbnb, wherever the fuck he's staying. Yeah. Sally chases after him, right? After her and Gillian have that
all 2.5 miles
kerfuffle. She runs into the center of her town with her keys. She doesn't even need her car, so why the fuck she take her keys? And that's the interrogation scene, March 8th, 1998, right?
Right.
Yeah, so he speaks into his little recorder, his little, like, talk boy, whatever the fuck.
His yak back.
His yak back.
Do you remember those?
I remember those. Didn't it, like slow down your voice? Like, it made it also, so like,
cool.
Chipmunky those were really cool. There's a whole debate about the dates being wrong because it happened after the solstice. So why the fuck is this March 8th, 1998?
Right. I want to plug our episode for the zip code.
Oh, right.
What episode was it? Let me see. The Maria's Island episode was episode 42, actually right before Nigella. We did a bit of a deep dive there, but also where you and I watched the film together, our commentary, we were stopping. We were zooming in on what photos Gary had on his bed. Have you ever seen, oh God, it's Angelina Jolie, Ethan Hawke movie, or she's some kind of detective, and she surrounds herself with these, like, not autopsy pictures, like crime scene photos, and they're like,
she's just obsessed
on her bed and posted on the ceiling above her bed, and it's very strange. That's what this gives me, is like all this gruesome stuff laid out where he's supposed to be resting.
Yeah, but I feel like that's, like, typically the case with, like, detectives, and I feel like you have to have a certain kind of mind to be in that line of work. You have to allow yourself to become so obsessed with something that you are not gonna let up until you figure it out, until you solve that case.
And they can, like, compartmentalize, like, that gruesomeness, even though it's out in the open. Like, when they're shutting down, I guess they shut down. That goes back in the box. Right. So, yeah, we see some of the photos on his bed. Was it the burn mark? There's, like, some photos of, like, Jimmy hanging out with some other random Bulgarian guys. Yeah, it was like the burn mark, Phoebe Stone and her parents.
Yeah.
Jimmy walking out of a door.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bunch
His
of
place
pictures.
is fairly clean apart from the pictures on the bed.
Yeah. And did you notice he has that white shirt that he puts on in the scene after? It's laid out on his chair,
Ready to go.
ready to go.
My brain goes to, he thought that breakfast was going to go so smoothly, he'd get all the answers, they would be written off as no longer suspects. I think he was hoping for a dinner date. Like he'd have time to go home, put that shirt on, put some cologne on.
A breakfast and dinner date in the same day?
I know, he would.
Harry. Presumptuous. Presumptuous, right?
Yeah. They talk back and forth. Sally sees the letter she wrote to Gillian. She knew he had that letter before, but she hadn't opened it, right? And as she opens it, she sees that it's so delicate and like almost fabric-like because he's read it so many times.
Yeah. How many times have you read my letter?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
There's a few.
Just, yeah, okay. This thing is falling apart. It looks like toilet paper at this point.
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying, Gary?
Yeah. So he's got his yak back. They sit down. He's asking her questions. Like, good on him for like recording it. She does state she doesn't want a lawyer, so that's why they start talking. I'm trying to think what she says that he's like, he stops the recording, right?
Yeah, she's like, yeah, I don't remember. She says like, we didn't kill him, and then he's like, you didn't kill him, or Gillian.
So
No, she says Gillian didn't kill anybody. He's like, oh, Gillian didn't, but you did. And then what did she say? Yeah, he shuts off the recorder, and he's like, yeah, you
is
really
the
need to get
world something about the world being short a man like Jimmy Angelov, and he's like, it's not for you or me to decide.
Yeah.
And she says, oh, he has been punished. And then he's like, click, like, girl, you gotta get a lawyer.
Get your shit together.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they smooch.
And then they snog. Yeah. And then that's the scene there. It's revealed that he does in fact have the one green eye, one blue, because we get a close up on his beautiful blue eyes, but then one of them kind of like shifts into a greener kind of color, and you're like, oh shit, that's the guy. He's the love spell guy.
But she hasn't seen any of the other signs, has she?
I
don't think she put together that the star.
Right. She sees the signs. They're right in front of her face, but I don't think she's putting two and two together.
Right. So she freaks out about his eye. And bolts.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I guess it's like the most obscure quality. Like, what are the chances? Okay, so, all right, he's an officer. He's got a star badge. Okay, cool. I don't even know if she knows that he has a horse because he comes to town just by himself. So I don't even know. She can't really see that one. But as far as the one green eye, one blue, I know, like, if I saw that, you know how, like, sometimes you just, like, see, like, a random thing and it just reminds you of childhood? It's like, oh, that weird random memory. I'm sure it was that obscure that it made her think of that.
I see.
Like, how often do you come across people that have one green eye, one blue?
We're going to find out. Also,
Right.
you and I, so the next episode is going to be a song-episode, and you and I discussed something else for the last December episodes, but I think we should do the heterochromia one since it's like
100%.
Since we're talking about it. I haven't started
100%.
somewhere.
All right. He's got the one green eye, one blue. She notices here, and that kind of sends her into like a tailspin.
Panic.
I don't know. Yeah, she like up and leaves out of there. And poor Gary is like, what did I do?
I was born with it. Yeah,
was
fuck
born
Gary.
with it.
What do you we're not saying you wear one contact like a weirdo. Of course you were born with it. Like, I was born it was just very sad the way he says it, like, oh, like you don't like something I can't change.
Because the way she fucking reacted, she seemed more put off by it than like, oh shit, you're the man of my dreams.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The reaction, like, I'm sure he felt so like something, like it felt more like a flaw the way she reacted, right? So he was kind of like, I was born with it. Like, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Like,
It makes
is
my
there
heart
something
hurt for
wrong with
him.
that? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we find out later on, he finds out later on the real deal, but in that moment, I'm sure he's just so like, what I do wrong? I can't help it.
These women are a roller coaster of emotions.
Fucking
Right?
A, man. Yeah.
Right. So Sally runs back to the house. She hears her girls crying and goes upstairs. She sees Gillian exercising. I don't know.
Exercising. Yeah, she's sitting there with her sweatbands on, doing the Jane Fonda workout tape. Yeah.
And then boom, Gary's there in an instant with his guns drawn. We did the daguerreotype episode. We did the exorcism episode and the Jimmy episode if you want to hear in depth about this scene. But it's a very high noon, guns drawn, cowboy versus
Outlaw.
Yeah.
In that scene, we see his talisman, the star, his super talisman come to work. It goes to work in this scene, right?
Yes, doing overtime.
Yeah. And Do you think in this scene, if you pay close attention to like Sally's reaction, because in the previous scene she noticed he had the one green eye, one blue, and now he's using the star in this scene.
Yeah.
So maybe she's like starting to piece these things together, like, oh shit, this is the fucking guy.
This is the fucking guy.
Because it's right after this scene where they're having that talk under the rose arbor, and she's like, I worked a spell when I was little. Like, now it's all coming back to her. Like, now she's seeing these different signs along the way, and maybe she didn't like realize the whole flipping the pancakes thing when it was happening, but now that she saw these two signs, maybe she's thinking back to like all the signs that were happening along the way, like, oh fuck, this is really the guy. I need to have this conversation with him now before shit gets any worse.
Yeah.
How could things get any worse after the exorcism? I mean, they do.
They do.
But
you're right.
I feel like she's like, I should probably have this conversation with him now.
There were moments of gold and there were flashes of light.
That's
all
right.
coming back to her now.
Good old Celine. Dude, Molly was watching something recently and it was like, you know, one of the shows tailored to these kids nowadays, but it was a Celine Dion song in the show, but like some character from the show was singing it.
Okay.
And I was like, Molly, do you know the song? She's like, no, what is this song? I was like, this is fucking Celine Dion, and don't you forget it. She's
the
like,
Empress herself.
oh, this is Celine Dion, because she loves Titanic and she like loves the you know, Titanic song. So that's how she knows Celine Dion.
Oh my god. Do you know what song it was?
It was "'Cause I'm Your Lady and You Are My Man."
You too can now own the greatest love songs of our generation.
How many times did you wake up in the middle of the night to that blasting on your fucking TV?
Yeah.
You ever see that TikTok?
She raised us. Yes.
She really did, man. I fucking love her.
Oh my god. He uses his star to banish Jimmy's spirit.
Yes. Yeah. So I think at that point she was like, okay, I need to talk to him about this. I need to tell him about this love spell. He might think I'm crazy, but he's just seen a fucking ghost come out of my sister.
Right.
So I don't think he's going to think it's crazy anymore.
Right. He's going to start believing magic.
Yeah, but I mean, but he believes in the magic, but he doesn't believe in the curses. So he's got a optimistic side to him, which leads me to believe he might have some Sagittarius. We are the optimists of the zodiac.
They need him like a hole in not like a hole in the head. Like they need him so bad because he's like the one optimist in that family. Besides the little ones who are just childlike innocence. Everybody else has been told their whole lives.
So cynical.
They're gonna be, you know, widows and spinsters, and everybody who they love is gonna die. Gary's like,
cynical.
That I'm gonna live.
Everybody's so just dragged down by this curse.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's living their lives according to what this curse may or may not, if it's real, if it's not real.
Even Jillian, who's like
a fart in the wind.
Fart in the wind.
Yeah.
But she subliminally searched for a man she thought was strong enough to withstand the curse.
Yeah. I was going to say, do you think Jillian, she's so flighty in her love life and her romantic choices because she doesn't see the point in settling down with anybody?
What does it matter? They're going to die.
Exactly. What is the point of locking it up with a ring and like calling somebody your husband if it's just going to kill a poor guy?
Exactly.
So she's like, I might as well play the field and have fun.
Yeah.
You know, what else are we going to do?
Totally.
So, yeah.
Sally comes clean and Gary goes, hold on, just a goddamn second. Right?
I like how we're making him just like sound like Yosemite Sam.
I know. So they have a very touching moment. She tells him about the curse, right? And he's like, I don't believe in that. And we see little flashbacks of him as a child on the back of the horse. He's riding backwards. The star's on the horse's butt.
We see the rose petals fall onto him.
Yeah.
The one that Sally sets free into the moonlight as a child. Yeah. So like at that moment, the audience is like, oh shit, this really is the guy.
Yeah.
He leaves. She ugly cries.
He wished for her too, I guess, at one point in his life.
Yeah.
I wonder what those qualities were that he had wished for.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you think he just wished for a witch?
I don't think so. I wish for some good coffee by a beautiful brunette.
What if he wished to, I guess, be a dad, and maybe that never happened for him? Like, I guess with his ex high school sweetheart. That
what if it did? What if he has a kid?
Well, maybe
what
it
if it's
did.
Like Gilmore Girls, where fucking April shows out of nowhere, you know, and
it did
throws off everything.
We're gonna write some sweet ass fan fiction for you guys.
I'm inspired. Yeah.
Next bullshit. So we're going down this fucking rabbit hole. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So at this point, I guess he goes back to Arizona.
Yeah.
That's the last time we see him until the very end.
That's true.
Because we get the whole coven scene, and then probably a couple days later. Well, it's in the fall because Sally's burning the leaves. She's cleaning up the roses. They're kind of bundled up, and they get the letter from him with the ring in it.
You're right. So some significant amount of time had to have passed. Like a whole end of the season transition happened before he came back and planted that amazing end of movie scene kiss on Sally, right?
So good.
Yeah, so good. But there's also a little scene before that. You notice kind of like when things, I guess the dust settles literally once they do the exorcism and like they're coming to terms with maybe the curse is over, and Sally goes back out to the moon. She lets the leaf go, and it floats down to Gary, right?
I don't know if we ever see it float down, but to me,
he looks up.
It always looks like he's sleeping outside, like cowboy style. Is he inside? Because it looks like he's sleeping outside. But I could totally see like him hearing her call a mile away.
A mile away.
He's hearing a call, man.
Even when Sally leaves him after she was like, oh shit, one green, one blue, I'm leaving.
Yes.
And she goes back to the house. Yes. She hears the girls crying. I guess when she goes up to see what happened to Gillian when she's like being taken over by Jimmy's ghost, he comes out of nowhere. Like, where did he come from? She didn't call him. So literally, he heard her call a mile away, even though she didn't actually verbalize like, Gary, I need you. Yeah. Like in her mind, they're just so in sync, like telepathically, I guess.
I love that. I loved him for her. We don't need Ian.
Fuck Ian.
Fuck Ian. Fuck that guy.
Who the fuck is that guy anyway?
Yeah. They get the beautiful kiss with the Stevie Nicks in the background.
Such a great scene.
And then we see him at the end, waving up at them. They jump down, and he's holding Antonia, which is adorable. He's in dad mode.
Fully stepped into the role as the dad.
So cute.
As the father, which is very, very cute. He's there in full support of his woman, no matter what she is and what kind of magic she holds. Like, he is secure enough that he's not threatened by her power.
He is simping over Sally. So hard.
Can we please make a t-shirt that says Simpin' for Sally?
Simpin' for Sally Owens.
Simpin' for Sally, 1998.
Oh my God.
Simpin' for Sally since March 8th, 1998.
Yes. Yes. I gotta write it down. Oh my God, that's perfect. And that's it. That's Gary.
That's Gary in a nutshell, guys. All right, episode's over.
Bye. No, we have more to discuss. Okay.
We have a lot.
A few things.
Okay.
And chime in whenever. This is going to kind of go back through the story, but these are things that are red flags to me a little bit, right? Okay.
About Gary?
About Gary. Number one, don't walk into my backyard. Stay up the lane and honk your horn and wait for me to come to you. At least in my neighborhood, like, you will get shot. Don't go roaming around people's yards.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But good on Gary for at least having his law enforcement ID ready to go. He walks back there. He's got his little briefcase. He's like, flip. Like, I'm a law enforcement man. Those girls don't have to answer any questions. Bottom line, without a lawyer present. That to me is like, Gary, what the fuck? You didn't say like what their rights were. They're not being arrested, but did they know they had the option?
Well, I mean, he does say, you guys better get yourselves a damn good lawyer, right? He says that to them once after the ring is burped up, and then he says it to Sally again after he stops the tape recorder.
I know, but he's already in their house asking questions. First of all, he doesn't have a search warrant. He shouldn't be snooping around the house.
You're right.
He could not open the car. Can't gather evidence, and he can't have that car towed.
Well, we know he's not really there to do his job. We know he's there because he's simping for Sally.
He wants breakfast.
He wants breakfast. He wants breakfast and then dessert, let's just say.
Yeah. So speaking of the car, okay, I don't know why I numbered it like this. This brings me to, how long was he there for? Because Sally is chopping down the roses in the morning, right? They're noticed right after they're having coffee in the morning. They're all hungover. Then he has the car taken away, and it looks like straight up twilight out. Was he there all day with them?
Yeah, you're right. He had to have been.
Yeah. And then I want to speculate at what you think would have happened if the aunts had been there when he showed up?
I
Maybe
think
not when the whole Jimmy thing happened, but when Gary came, do you think the aunts would have tried to do the same thing maybe that Gillian was trying to do, make him have a little amnesia, banish him, or be fully truthful?
I think the aunts would have just straight up killed him.
You do?
I don't know. I don't know. I think, well, first of all, I don't know, because when the whole like Midnight Margarita scene happened and the girls weren't really coming clean about what was really going down, when, the bottle, who was it? Sally that crashed the bottle into the sink. The aunts demanded to know what was going on and the girls didn't want to tell them. They're like, all right, well then clean up your own mess. Right. And they leave. Do you think it would have in essence been the same deal if Gary showed up and they were there? Do you think they would have been like, what the fuck did you girls do? What are you involved with? Clean up your own mess? Or do
if
you
they're
think
just sipping tea in the corner, like
letting them
speak
take care of
English?
it? Yeah. Exactly. Or do you think they would have put some magic to work to maybe up the ante on what Gillian was trying to do and maybe hurt him a little bit just to get the point across, to get out of there and like leave them alone and like not push the issue any further? Or maybe
even teach them some kind of harsh lesson, like you bring this bad juju into the house, this is what happens to them.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Do we know if the aunts are aware of the spell that Sally has worked as a
I
child?
don't think so. I don't even know if Jillian knows, because she's reading it like, oh well, no, she heard Sally say some of it. She was there when she
was there when she
floated
did the spell, right?
Yeah.
So do you think that as kids, Jillian would have like made her sister kind of like her spell known to the aunts? Like, you know how kids like brag? Like what Antonia said in that one scene, Kylie thinks any man that marries an Owens woman is gonna croak. Like, I could see Jillian as a kid being like, Sally thinks that this kind of man exists and she did this love spell. So maybe the aunts had some kind of inkling about like what the spell
So if
was.
that's the case, do you think they might have even sensed him coming?
Maybe.
That's your boo right there, but we're not going to say anything.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They have good intuition, but as Jet says at the end, our instincts are getting a little rusty.
Yeah.
So who knows what? I don't know. Maybe they just weren't needed at that point in the story. I don't think, because I think it was for Sally to kind of figure out on her own, right? Because she's the one who sent this into the universe. She's the one who sent this out to the ether to kind of like manifest. And she's the main character. She's got the main character energy. So
yeah. Part of me thinks too that they would have like killed him with kindness, almost the same way Jillian does, like
butter him up. These
very
sweeten him with the syrup.
Yeah, these aunties who wouldn't hurt a fly,
Right. Yeah.
Except all their husbands keep dying, right?
Right, yeah. And I mean, like, they didn't mean for Michael to die. They just wanted to see Sally happy. So I guess, in essence, maybe they wouldn't hurt Gary, but...
Which, real quick, are they putting the blame on Sally for actually loving him? You loved him, and now he's dead.
We didn't mean for this to happen.
Yeah, it's all your fault this happened.
Wow.
We're getting off topic.
Okay, yeah.
All right. So we're not really sure how long Gary was hanging around town for, but long enough for Sally to change outfits, right?
Right. And definitely before he even showed up at the property, because we saw him in that little cutaway scene, like really quickly questioning people in front of the fish market at a distance. Like you can't really tell it's him unless you're really paying attention.
Yes, and you caught that scene is so fast.
He's been in that town.
Right.
You know?
So I feel like there's some kind of degree of a little bit of harassment or intimidation going on where he's basically floating around in Sally's periphery, right?
Yes.
Like there's a degree of unease, like never mind in Sudbury where Gary is literally popping up everywhere, basically begging Sally to go on a date with him.
Right.
But to have a officer of the law, you see him everywhere around town. That to me would be so infuriating, and he's not stalking, he's doing his job. But to me, that's kind of, you're showing up at my work, you're showing up at my house.
Like he's questioning her employees during business hours at their fucking job in her fucking shop. Like,
yes.
Shouldn't you set up a time and place to be meeting with these people? What the fuck, man? I would be put off by him too if he showed up poking around. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, if you want, and like Sally said, if you want to know something, just ask me.
Yep.
Like, why are you being a creep about it? And like going to all the townspeople and everybody I know, like I'm already ostracized my family's already like looked down upon as it is. You're not making things any better for my case.
Speaking of the breakfast, like who you cannot. I feel weird inviting myself over anywhere.
Yeah.
He should have had a specific. Let's meet at this coffee shop. Let's meet at the police station in your town where it can be official. Don't go having breakfast with your suspects, Gary.
And if you meet at the police station, you could bring your fucking lawyer. Have a lawyer present, right? Make it a legit questioning session. Interrogation.
And say that in some other story timeline, they are murderers, murderesses. Doesn't law enforcement have some kind of buddy system? Gary should not be sliding like right into their territory alone, in my opinion,
Right.
where they could really, in all reality, take full advantage of him.
Right.
I wrote this down because my husband does commercial plumbing. He said he had to go to this place. I was like, is anybody going with you? He said no. I was like, aren't you supposed to have like somebody with you who can be accountable, an extra set of eyes? And I was like, Gary is by himself.
Yeah.
They could have easily got him over the head with a frying pan.
He's a lone wolf. Exactly. They could have totally 100% double teamed him, and he could have ended up in the same place Jimmy ended up. And if Gary has Gary works for a jurisdiction, so somebody's gonna come looking for him.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah.
But he doesn't have any real family as far as we know, especially if we're going off the books. Like we know he's an orphan.
Yeah.
He had one ex-wife that ended years and years and years ago.
I totally forgot all about that. That's so
Me too.
weird.
Yeah. I guess he would have some kind of jurisdiction looking out for him if he did end up going missing. But yeah, I agree. Like he should have definitely had somebody with him
A partner.
to go questioning. Yeah. Gillian did try to, we don't know if she tried to kill him, tried to hurt him, tried to make him forget, tried to send him away. We don't know what her actual intention was, but she had some kind of intention aimed at him. And we don't know what it was. And he dodged it.
Yeah.
And obviously
his
he dodged
partner is Antonia and Kylie.
Exactly.
His little buddy cop movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're
So
right.
I think if he had some kind of partner with him that could have kept him, I know we said he's like an earth sign, but kept him more grounded. Like, you are here to do a job. You're not here to fraternize with your suspect.
And if that was the case, I feel like they would have gone to jail.
100%.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, they would have had some kind of like voice of reason. Gary would have had some kind of voice of reason, you know, making him do his job while he's there, not having breakfast and like buying shampoo and having ice cream and
Flipping
like
pancakes.
flipping pancakes. Exactly. So I totally agree with you. He should have definitely had a partner of some sort to keep him on track.
The ring, I guess, when the frog burps it up, I was thinking like, can he just take that? Can he
Right,
just
it's
take that off their
evidence.
property?
It's evidence, right?
I guess. Finders keepers is what I wrote down. Yeah, because it was documented, I guess, in his files and his pictures that was the brand found.
Yeah, and it was directly linked with the crime, so he should have totally 100% have taken that ring with him as evidence.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But I think he doesn't because he knows he's not really there to do his job. He's there because Sally, she's got some kind of hold on him. He doesn't know what to spell at this point, but
He does take it though.
Does he take it at that point?
Yeah, I think he puts it in his pocket,
Does
and
he?
then
Okay.
it gets mailed back to them, right?
God.
Later.
Oh, right. Okay, yes.
Yeah.
So he does take it, but he doesn't actually. I don't think he's ever submitted it into evidence. Do you think?
No, 'cause I don't know.
He sends it back to them at the end when they were cleared of their crimes. So do you think maybe it wasn't evidence for some point in time?
If it's an open and closed case, like, hey, they found Jimmy's body, quote unquote, whether it was burned up or whatever,
Yeah.
you don't just give evidence back to people. You know?
Right. Yeah. I'm sure that would like stay locked up in some kind of locker and some kind of like
In a box in a basement, right? With James Hawkins written on it.
with everything, every other crime documentation. Exactly.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Hollywood.
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 Yeah.
So yeah.
And then lastly, okay, Sally doesn't want to get a lawyer. Fine. Get it recorded on tape. Awesome. But then like his libido kicked in. And then let's back up. He opened her mail.
A man of the law.
A man of the it was already quote unquote opened. It's illegal. You can't
That's
do that.
illegal. Yeah.
That's
Dude,
my argument.
It's
against
illegal to
Gary.
it's illegal to put rocks in somebody's mailbox because I
Is
used to
it
do that.
really?
It's illegal to open anybody's mailbox.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
Like, you know, like when like mail comes to your house by accident and it's your neighbor's mail, it's actually illegal to go put that mistaken mail
What?
back in your neighbor's mailbox. Supposedly it's illegal.
You want
Like
to hear something awful?
if somebody reports you, you could probably get in a lot of trouble for that. But like if it's a neighbor and they're doing you a favor by giving your
Sure.
mail back, whatever. It is
It's
what
not
it
a
is.
big deal.
But like I remember when I was a kid, I don't know why I used to do this. I don't know why. I was a kid and I was
Rocks
stupid.
are not. You loved
I
the
would
rocks. You
take
were gifting them.
I would take rocks and I would put them in people's
Did
mailboxes.
you get? Did you get in trouble?
By my mom. My
Oh,
mom, she's like, "That's illegal. Don't
is
stop
it
doing
though? Or is it one of those lies that parents tell their kids
that." Like it's illegal to keep the light on in the car while you're driving at
when
night.
you're driving?
You're right. It probably was just a lie she told me to get me to stop doing that. Stop bothering our neighbors.
Dude, my brothers and I, we used to fill condoms with what's that called? Barbasol,
Shaving cream?
shaving cream, and rice, and blow them up and put them in mailboxes and pop them.
Okay. Okay, so you did the mailbox thing too. You're a mailbox bandit.
I'm a mailbox bandit.
Okay, we need
Hello, my
t-shirts.
name is Christina. I'm a mailbox bandit.
Mailbox bandits. Yeah. Like we're like the sticky bandits, like the dudes from Home Alone.
Sticky. Oh my gosh, Merv. I don't know
With
the other guy's
mailbox.
name. Oh my gosh. Dude, yeah, a little more. Do you want to take us through like the commentary and special features and what they had to say about the character?
Yeah. Aidan Quinn, the actor who plays Gary, says in the commentary, it's rare. Should I say this like him? It's rare as an actor to feel completely at ease with the director that he's for you
Are
completely.
you Louis L'Amour?
Is Gary just Louis L'Amour?
Yeah,
Is this why Jimmy has an Jimmy likes Louis L'Amour.
he does.
So he says it's rare as an actor to feel completely at ease with the director that he's for you completely and you can do anything, go out there and try something, try anything, and he'll be extremely supportive of the impulse. And then Robin Standifer says Aidan Quinn has always been my favorite actor for years. The part of Gary Hallet, we always pictured Gary Cooper. We wanted someone with the vibration of being good, being honest and decent, and Aidan has that. I think he has that in life and he has that in movies. So they kind of like, I guess they were attracted to not, just him for the character, but that's how he seemed like he really is in real life, right?
Real good dude.
He didn't really have to act much, I guess.
No, it sounds like effortless.
And it came, just a natural progression from real person to the character, it seems like. So Sandra Bullock says, old blue eyes. My mom said something about Aidan that is absolutely spot on. You look at Aidan, and the man comes with an incredible amount of integrity. He does, and he does. You can see that in his eyes. A good actor can say nothing and say more than most people like myself who talks a lot. He has a gift that resonates out of him, and I don't know what it is. It's just that blessed special thing he was born with. I was born with it. So Griffin Dunn says, he's like Jimmy Stewart in this thing, truly a hero. It's very difficult to pull off being the guy who shows up more than halfway through the movie who's going to be the love interest. It was always something that worried us, how do you tell a love story when he shows up halfway through? But he's the breath of fresh air that walks in the door. And there's a few more things from the commentary. So Sandra and Robin, this is the director's commentary when they're talking like over the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So Sandra and Robin say, he radiates dreaminess and goodness. He's just a good man. It was an honor to work with him. He's so centered and relaxed. You don't see the strings at all. He just makes it work.
Oh.
And Robin referring to the Sally and Gary scene when he's looking at the belladonna in the greenhouse. She says, talk about chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
Sandra says, it's amazing how you can't buy that or manufacture it. It just is. You get someone's sense of humor, their moral structure, and you just understand. You could just be comfortable in someone's eyes. And Robin says, Aidan was so cute at the end of the scene. After one of the takes, when it finally clicks, the realization that she's a witch, he came over to Griffin and I and said, she really did bewitch me. He just kind of said she's got me under her spell there. Yeah, there was something really great that happened in this scene. And then Griffin, with the commentary, he says, Aidan is someone I know socially over the years, and I'm so glad it worked out for him to be in this movie. It was the last part that I cast. I had very, very difficult time finding someone I wanted for Gary Hallet. I needed someone who had a quiet dignity and power and that could be the everyman. You know, his character is supposed to be us in a way, in terms of the quote normal person who's not used to witches and seeing ghosts come out of bodies and all these sorts of unexplainable things that Hallet witnesses. We're also supposed to admire this man who has something kind of lonely about him and romantic and almost a Gary Cooper kind of way. You know, he's a cop who's seen a lot and really believes in right and wrong. So to get all these traits, these are all leading men traits. You know, the role can only be played by a handful of actors who bring a lot of history and depth. And quite honestly, I was reading and meeting with and thinking about younger actors, and I thought this is a mistake. I need somebody who spent a little more time on planet Earth. Somebody with the history and the chops to be both the romantic leading man and also not be afraid to be caught up in this circumstance. He is brought there because he's under a spell. He doesn't know what the hell is going on, and to be able to play that without being weak. He was the only actor, I think, who could have done that and play the strength and the both physical and emotional of being a homicide detective and the wonder of being a guy who's just used to being in control, who's in a circumstance that's out of his control. That's it for the commentary. Was there anything else you had to add to, I guess, the movie, the books, any of all that?
Let me ask you what your first impression was of seeing Gary the first time as the love interest, and how do you feel about him now, I guess?
I don't remember because it was such a lot like that first time I ever saw the movie. I was like 15 years old. I really don't remember what my first thoughts were. I think I was just like, who's this guy? Who's this fucking guy that's just coming all up in their business and just trying to stir things up? I don't know. There are things about Gary now that are like commendable. Like he's that Southern gentleman, like even though he's a little nosy, he's not really following company policy. There's some things about him that are questionable, but it's hard to be mad at him because he's such like a down-to-earth, grounding kind of guy. And you know that he's not there to ruffle feathers intentionally. He literally was drawn there by a spell.
Right. Wait a minute. So does that mean, okay, how would he have gotten there without Gillian ever meeting Jimmy? You know what I mean?
So, in essence, the stars had perfectly aligned. Things had to follow a specific set of, like a specific order in order for that happenstance to bring Sally and Gary together. So, I don't think Jimmy was ever meant to play out with Gillian. I think maybe he was just a pawn in the greater scheme of getting Gary to Sally.
Do you think
about it.
With Sally doing that spell that she somehow also altered Gillian's direction in life and fate? Fate was like, okay, I got this man for you. How am I going to get him to you? All right, we'll have your sister date this horrible man, and then you get to kill him.
And then you get to kill him.
And here comes Gary.
So in essence, Sally's love spell as a child fucked over her sister and her sister's love life.
Yeah.
And I think that's hilarious because, yeah, when Sally's doing that whole love spell as a child, Jillian's behind her. She's like, what are you doing? Like, do you really think that's going to work?
Yeah.
So do you think Jillian, in essence, not believing in her sister's love spell as a child, kind of, she also fucked herself?
I guess. Yeah. Poor Jillian.
I know. I don't know, but you're totally right. Like, in order for Gary to meet up with Sally or to finally find each other, those specific course of actions had to have happened.
Yeah.
That I never even put that together, but that's such a good point.
And I'm wondering if Alice felt comfortable enough to kill him off in that last book because that Amos Vidita spell had nothing to. It wasn't in the practical magic book of Sally wanting a partner.
You're absolutely right. Amos Viditas had nothing to do with any of the books. Gary was not the byproduct of a spell.
Right.
He was just another guy in a string of guys the Owens women were involved with that ultimately had to meet their Death Watch Beetle fate. That's it.
That's my thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah. And then enter Ian. So another guy in the string of guys. Like,
fucking Ian. We haven't gotten to Ian, but do you think, because he kind of comes off as like a long-haired tattoo, leather-wearing bad boy. And do you think that was, I don't know, like Sally having Michael sounds like just like a everyman, like a man's man, good guy. Gary
works at a hardware store.
Yeah, Gary, law enforcement, good guy. And then we get a guy who's done time, is a bad boy, is in the dark arts kind of thing.
Yeah.
Unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely think the Book of Magic, that last book, I don't even think it should have been Book of Magic or about breaking the curse. If the curse was truly broken, I think that Gary and Sally should have had their love story and
Yeah.
that be the book.
I think Gary was good. Michael was good too, though.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why those decisions were made. We'll never know. I just hope Alice revisits some of these plot lines and gives some characters their own time to shine, maybe other spin-off books. I think that
It
will be
doesn't even have to be called like Book of or Magic of or Practical. It can be a whole new series, same family, but a
yeah.
whole new branch of the family tree.
That would be so freaking
That would be
cool.
so fucking cool.
I'm holding out for an Aunt Isabel book
Yeah. And a Vincent book.
and a Vincent book. Yeah, we need books for all these other characters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready. I'm ready
You
for the
ready?
book.
All
Yeah,
right.
do it.
We are going to take a little break, but when we return, we're going to talk about what it really takes to be an Arizona detective and what kind of sentencing Jimmy would have received for his crimes, and a little quiz. So stick around and we'll be right back.
Hey, little witches! The Stinas here. If you've been listening to our podcast for a while, you would know how much we love using the Practical Magic Inner Witch Oracle deck by Grounded by the Moon.
And now we want to share the magic of Grounded by the Moon with you, our listeners. Joseph Benitez Egerton, the creator behind Grounded by the Moon, would like to offer this very special 10% off discount to all who wish to experience the magic of his Practical Magic themed tarot and oracle decks.
But that's not all. He also creates other divination tools like tarot workbooks, deck bags and altar cloths, pendulum kits, oil blends, cleansing sprays, smoke wands, teas, and ritual kits.
And let's not forget about his custom handcrafted, all-natural soy candles, where every candle is hand-poured and personally infused and charged under the light of the moon. They even come with a crystal.
And did we mention all of the ingredients in the candles are ethically sourced?
All of Joseph's offerings are just so magical. So go visit groundedbythemoon.com and use the coupon code Magnolia Magic for 10% off your entire order at checkout.
That's MAGNOLIA MAGIC. So get your discount today. Hey, we're the Stinas, and you're listening to Magnolia Street Podcast. Ooh,
Boom. Ooh.
ooh, I like the spin on this episode.
Does your Inner Witch Oracle have like a star card?
Yes, it does.
It does? Okay, cool.
I'll read that for you right now.
Thank you.
All right. I think it's just star.
Oh,
Oh, no.
okay.
No, it's symbols. It's symbols.
Okay.
So the image on this card though is the star.
Oh, the badge itself. Okay.
Yeah. Gary's badge. So the keyword on this card says believe. The keywords at the top say believe and empower. The meaning on this says know that whatever you believe can and does have power. Know your strength. Know your power. You need to believe in yourself and empower yourself. Your magic is only as strong as you believe it is. Right now, you are being asked to look at how much energy and effort you put into your own beliefs. Embrace yourself and all that holds true. Do just that and believe within. The pentacle is a great, magical, and powerful symbol, a 5-pointed star encompassed by a circle. Witches use the power within for protection as well as a greater connection to the 5 elements. Earth, air, fire, water, and spirit is the 5th. Use the power of this symbol or create your own and utilize the power of sigil magic to empower your energy and magic. And the mantra on this card says, what I believe has power and I believe in myself. And it's basically a testament to like what Sally said to Gary in that scene. Like, this is your talisman, your badge.
Mm-hmm.
This is your star. This has power because you believe it does, right?
Mhm.
It can't stop a criminal dead in its tracks.
He reuses her words and he
Mhm.
says, in reference to curses, they only have
Right.
power if you believe in them.
Right. I like how he spun it back around on her. We all have our talismans that, we carry with us or, that we believe
Mm-hmm.
some kind of power. Like,
Do you have any jewelry or anything that you always wear? besides your wedding ring?
When I was a teenager, I actually had this isn't the one I had as a teenager. This is one that Molly gave me for my like
Oh,
present
nice.
one year. But I usually always have like a crystal point on, like some kind of clear quartz or amethyst quartz, any kind of like my mom gave me a couple star pendants. Yeah, I have it on right now.
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah, you wear that one all the time, huh?
Yeah, I love my star pendant and my crystal points.
Nice.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I carry around. I like to
You-
make like charm bags. I like to use like those sachet bags. I like to fill them with herbs and flowers and crystals and anything else. And I love bag magic, like charm bag magic.
Do you keep anything in your car or in your purse?
I do have the evil eye, the from Greece when we went
Hmm.
to Greece. I got a shit ton of keychains from there because they're so cheap over there. Like I just like stock up on them and just like
Yeah,
put them in different places in the house.
that's awesome.
And then I also have one. I have a one of my evil eye pendants on the besom that I made on my front porch, and that whole besom is like adorned with different charms and pendants.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I have one good luck thorn. It's like a silver pewter pendant. A friend of mine, like a witchy friend of mine from high school, gave it to me, and I've had it ever since. And I just store or like hoard charms away.
This should be a whole episode. I think you have
Charms,
amulets on our list. I
talismans,
think
and amulets.
so. Yeah,
Yeah,
because we
yeah,
could
yeah.
go
Yeah, so I
down.
mean, like I have so many different charms, but those are just like the few that I like to utilize on my day to day.
Nice.
What do you carry anything
I
specific?
have the evil eye bracelet that I've worn since my grandfather's passing, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking when it's full, it will just break or fall off. So I
Yeah.
won't wear it until then. But all my tattoos, and I try to utilize the runic symbol I put on the doors and the mirrors and all that stuff. There's one on my computer too, any like portals.
Yeah.
But yeah, we should do a whole episode.
Yeah, this is probably a rabbit hole. We could probably fill an entire 4 fucking hours with
Yeah.
amulets and shit.
Ah, I
But
love our job.
yeah. But that's just a few that I use. So I like that Gary not even knowing that he actually had a talisman. Like
Mm-hmm.
not a man of magic, like a complete muggle, right?
Right.
Complete muggle in the world.
Right.
Everybody, whether you identify as a witch or a magical person or not, everybody has that good luck charm. If you love football, you wear your favorite number or your special jersey to make your team win, or
Yep.
like that show that I watched recently with Billy Crudup about the plot of Land on the Moon that people were going to. There's a character, I think Hank Azaria played a character. He had to drink a glass of milk before every game so his team would win. And by the end of like the season or whatever, he was just so sick of milk.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, everybody has their thing.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
don't want to admit that it's witchcraft.
Aaron calls them, because I gave him specific crystals and
Yeah.
stones, and he calls them his energies. And
Oh,
anytime I try to give him new ones, because I sent Justina a picture recently. I came home from Salem and I brought the boys, my husband Aaron and his brother, little things, and they
yeah.
were like looking at their new crystals in the window and the light and stuff like that. And anytime I try to put a new crystal like on his side of the bed, he's like, "Don't mess up my energies."
Oh, yeah, don't mess up my
So
energies.
cute.
I love it.
Really
Yeah.
cute.
Last year when we went to Salem, Avi got some like skull-shaped, I don't even remember what kind of stones they were, but like basically crystal. He got them at the Hive and Forge. They
Yeah.
had like little skull head crystals.
Mhm.
So we got a few of them for his office. I was like, I've never seen him so intently pick out crystals for himself before.
That's
But
so
he
sweet.
was like, I need some crystals in my space too.
That's so cute.
So yeah, he's got his little witchy tendencies too.
So let's talk about Aidan Quinn, because he played Gary in the movie. This
Mhm.
is just a little excerpt of like where are they now? This
Oh
was
yeah,
written in
what?
October this year,
Oh, recent.
2023.
Okay. Yeah, what
What
has
is
he
it?
been up to?
So Aidan was born in Chicago, and he made his feature film debut in Reckless in 1984 opposite Daryl Hannah, who, by the which,
By the
by the
way,
way, I did not know that's the woman's name in Kill Bill who has the eye patch.
is it?
It is. I was like, who the fuck is this woman? Daryl Hannah.
Okay.
He went on to appear in the 80s and 90s classics such as Desperately Seeking Susan in
That was
85.
him?
Yeah, do you know that one?
Yeah, that's the movie with Madonna.
Oh.
And I was always like, who's that guy? That he's like, okay, when he was a little younger, he was very, very cuter than he was in Practical Magic.
Okay, I'll have to
So
look
I
that up. He was in Benny and June. I
I
think
remember him from
That was Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp was in that
Johnny
movie.
Depp.
Yeah. In 93.
I don't remember him from that though. What does he play in Money and June?
He was June's brother.
Brother?
Think so.
Oh, I vaguely remember. I think I've seen that movie maybe once.
He was in Legends of the Fall in 94 with Brad Pitt and Michael Collins in 96. Recently, Quinn had appeared in a recurring role on Law & Order Special Victims Unit, as well as in the film Daughter of the Bride in 2003 with Marcia Gay Harden. Quinn married his Stakeout co-star Elizabeth Braco in 87, and the couple has 2 daughters, Mia and Ava. He's a noted philanthropist, having supported causes such as testicular cancer awareness and autism research. So he's just a good dude.
So, like, what is he? Okay, so Daughter of the Bride was his most recent film, it seems like. But, like, what did he do between 96 and 2023?
I don't know. Raised
Just
2 daughters.
philanthropy, I guess? Philanthropy work, maybe? I've never even heard of the movie Michael Collins. What is
Me
that?
either. So I found this link, and it was strange because I think I just typed in Arizona Special Agent Detective. And guess what? They're hiring.
Should I click
Do
on
you
this
want to
link?
read the job description?
Okay.
So this,
You want me to read
let's
it?
get a sense of what Gary would have had to have, like the qualities and the skills he would have had to utilize.
Question though, is this the salary in 1998 or is this the
No.
salary today?
Today.
Okay. In 1998, he would have been making a lot less than this probably then.
Right.
So, Special Agent, Attorney General, Deputy of the Law, Phoenix, Tucson, and Prescott, Arizona. So, this is the job summary. So, the salary, I guess, is this a starting salary? $74,800 a year.
God damn.
That's all? That's not a lot for a man of the law to be putting their life on the line, to be questioning criminals.
They might have really good benefits. To me, it's a lot because I make nothing.
Well, I mean, yeah, it is a lot, but like for somebody who like puts their life on the line, I feel like that's not that much. And in 98, that would have been even less. Okay, so the job description. The Arizona Attorney General's Office, the AGO, is seeking motivated special agents to be assigned to the Criminal Division Special Investigations Section. Units within the Special Investigations Section supported by special agents include major fraud, healthcare fraud, consumer fraud, and financial crimes. But this does not include murder.
No, he's not a homicide detective. They weren't covering homicide in this.
Okay, so can we just put it out there? He was not even qualified to take Sally and Gillian's case. What the fuck was he doing? He was going out. Wait, didn't at some point didn't he say this is outside my jurisdiction?
Yeah, he did.
What did
he did.
say that in reference to?
There must be different levels of special agency in Arizona. You know, to cover homicide, to cover domestic disputes, to cover all this shit.
Yeah, he said this is outside my jurisdiction. I can't remember for the life of me what he was saying that in reference to. Maybe he was just saying that in reference to like the magic aspect in general. Did he say that right after? Did he say that right after the whole Jimmy thing happened in the attic? As a special agent, the position will, number 1, conduct interviews of victims, witnesses, investigative leads, and suspects. So, I mean, he does do that.
Yep.
But not with the specific cases described in this job description. Number 2, properly collect, process, control, and analyze evidence. I don't think he's properly collecting shit. I mean, he sent the belladonna seeds to the lab, but he just put that fucking skull ring in his back pocket in a napkin.
Yeah.
In a
he did not
pancake
even
napkin.
dust that steering wheel for anyone's fingerprints.
Nothing.
Allie's fingerprints were all over that. All right, what was your sister doing in the car? Like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah. We know he's not really doing that. Number 3, prepare clear, concise, grammatically correct, and detailed written reports to document all aspects of the investigation. Okay, he can't even do that, right? Because he got Maria's Island zip code wrong on the letter at the end.
Yeah.
No, that ain't the zip code.
Oh, Gary.
Gary, we're doing better investigative work than you are. We're sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. Not sorry.
Just gonna take your job for you. Number 4, communicate regularly and effectively with prosecutors and provide courtroom grand jury testimony as needed.
We don't have any evidence either way of him.
There's nothing really about that in the film, but do we really think he's effectively communicating? Do we?
Check this next one out.
Okay. All right, number 5, be able to physically control a suspect and be prepared and able to use deadly force if necessary. Deadly force.
Pew, pew.
I mean, all he did was hold up his star, and Jimmy just burst into fucking a cloud of smoke.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
my mind went to controlling a suspect by force, like throwing him on the bed and like making out with him.
I see where you're going with that now. So number 6, provide support to other AGO employees and perform administrative tasks if needed. I guess he seems like he's, doing his administrative. Look at all the files and papers he's got on his bed.
But they're really disorganized.
They do look very disorganized, so he's not a Virgo.
No, yeah.
He can't be a Virgo. Number 7, be safety conscious and use proper work methods by following standard police policies and procedures.
No.
He ain't doing that.
No.
He is not doing that.
Nope.
Safety conscious, we already talked about this before. He should have had a partner backing him up and keeping him grounded and level-headed, making sure that he's not fraternizing with the suspects.
Yeah. He had the suspect in his motel room.
Yeah.
Like, it's one thing going to their house. Okay, can I ask you a couple questions? All right.
Yeah.
You should be at like a police station.
Right.
Come to the station, we'll talk a little bit.
He's definitely not using proper work methods. Definitely not following any policies or procedures. And number 8, maintain proficiency with a firearm and maintain as post peace officer certification. Number 9. Oh wait, no, this is another one. Number 9.
Arizona Post. I don't know what Arizona Post is. Arizona Post Peace Officer certification.
I guess like firearm certification, like he's been trained to use a gun. Do we think he's been trained to use a gun? He just kind of like points it at Jimmy's ghost. He doesn't actually use
No idea.
Right?
No idea.
And number 9, maintain a professional appearance and demeanor at all times. This he does. He's got his little blazer on. He's got his badge. He's got his briefcase.
Yeah. He's dressed very well.
He looks the part.
Yeah.
But he's not really doing the part. Like, he's kind of just, he's a shit kind of officer, let's be honest.
So how about knowledge, skills, and abilities?
Yeah. Also, he needs to attend staff meetings, complete time cards and status reports, scan and copy documents, organize case files. I'm not doing any of that. I don't think he's doing any of that. So some of the knowledge, skills, and abilities that he needs to have. KSAs, okay? So, as a special agent, the position will be expected to know and understand various Arizona criminal and civil statutes, the Arizona criminal justice system, rules of evidence, and tactics, procedures, and techniques for general investigations, searches, seizures, and arrests.
Did not have a search warrant.
Did not have a warrant, just moseyed on into there, just drifted on into the greenhouse, Sally's place of work, in her rose garden. Like, he just kind of like saw it to himself to go in and see what see. Now that I think about it, Sally or Gillian never brought that up to him. Like, do you have a search warrant? Did they say, do you have a search warrant? They never even asked. So like, if you're not aware of your like rights as a citizen, you can really get fucked by the law,
Yeah, for sure.
They should. And I mean, he did give them the option to have a lawyer present, but they kind of just
way later.
Yeah, later down the line. So as a special agent assigned to the major fraud unit, the position will be expected to know and understand the elements and legal standards of conducting long-term criminal investigations involving fraud, money laundering, racketeering, and other white-collar crimes. So, because again, I don't see any murder in this job description.
No. I couldn't find a murdery one.
Oh, wait. So this is just a generalization? This isn't like what he would have applied for? Okay. So the special agent will be familiar with various financial databases that track, proceed, movements, and have the knowledge to conduct analyses of financial statements. As a special agent, this position must have the skills to communicate effectively with people of various backgrounds and education levels, using both verbal and nonverbal communication skills, conduct effective interviews and interrogations, maintain strict compliance with chain of custody and evidence control procedures, prepare search seizure warrant affidavits, safely plan and execute search seizure warrants, safely make arrests, manage time and resources effectively, work effectively with team members, including attorneys, forensic accountants, computer forensic experts, administrative staff, and other investigators, and maintain proficiency with a firearm. I don't know if like Gary was working with any jurisdiction. I think he was just like a private investigator that gave himself a badge.
That badge might not have even been real.
I don't think it was. It had power because he believed it did, not because anybody gave it to him.
I'm saying maybe there was no, he might not have even been a cop. He got Sally's letter and he said, I got to get to her, but I need a reason to go get her. But he did
Right.
know a lot about Jillian. I don't know. I just think it's a big ploy to get into Sally's pants.
I saw a TikTok where an FBI agent got pulled over by cops, and the cops were giving him a hard time because they were saying that because he had flashing blue and red lights, and they were like, "You're not an officer. You should not have these." He's like, "I'm an FBI agent. I work for this jurisdiction, whatever." And they're like, "We're sorry. Like, you can't have these." I don't know if they arrested him or gave him a ticket, or I don't remember what the deal, but like, if cops are given FBI agent, like, Gary could have just been a private investigator, not even with the FBI, just a private investigator, like a not
a PI, like
not hunter, like a bounty hunter or something, you know?
Mhm.
Like, those guys are pretty sure they're freelance. Like, they just
That's
work on
true.
their own shit. Like, they don't work with the law.
Ooh, what if he was hired by one of like Jimmy's, not rivals, but somebody he fucked over, and he's been like looking for Jillian.
I'm
and Jillian at the same time.
convinced. I'm convinced because, like, it makes no sense. He's sent there without a partner. He's fraternizing with a suspect, not collecting evidence properly. I don't even think he's submitting evidence.
He's put it in his pocket. He had it
He's-
wrapped up in his hanky.
You've had it wrapped up in a fucking tissue, and his file system is just appalling.
My head hurt.
It's making my brain hurt. My Virgo bone, it's not tickling it. It's making it ache. And I don't see how he's
It's not mathing. The math isn't mathing.
math isn't mathing. It doesn't seem legit to me. I think, honestly, he was just a private investigator or a bounty hunter hired by somebody to find Jimmy, put his head on a plaque on a wall, and it just so happened to bring him to Sally because the magic brought him
This is a
there.
whole new story, and I'm
This is-
down.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's juicy when you like really think of like the ins and outs of what
all the
his motive- like,
possibilities.
why is he really fucking there? He's not a real fucking cop. Somebody hired him.
That's it. That's the end of the show. Gary
He's a
is
freelance sheriff.
not a cop.
Yeah. All right, so the last two things on this list. As a special agent, the position will be expected to know and understand the elements and legal standards of conducting long-term criminal investigation involving fraud, money laundering, racketeering, other white-collar crimes. I just read that. The special agent will be familiar with various financial databases and track perceived movements and have the knowledge to conduct analyses of financial statements. As a special agent, this position must have the ability to find, collect, preserve, and evaluate information to determine the validity of and relevance to the alleged violations. This position must demonstrate initiative, self-motivation, and determination to consistently advance investigation and bring them to a successful conclusion. All right, that much he did. That much he did.
He wanted to close that book and get that tail.
Exactly. But like again, though, where were his motives lying? He really didn't want to come in and get the bad guy. He just wanted Sally.
Yeah.
Let's just be
How
real here.
romantic.
How romantic. Okay.
So remember when we discussed not really understanding the difference between like first, second, and third degree homicide?
Right.
I thought we should get into that a little bit. And these are specifically Arizona laws. So I wanted to figure out what Jimmy would really be convicted of.
Right.
Let's start with first degree murder. This is Arizona homicide laws from Shouse Arizona Law Group. So this is from a law group website.
Okay.
Let me go down again because I lost my
Shouse law.
Shouse law. Okay, so this first degree murder, ARS 131105, is the Arizona statute that defines the crime of first degree murder. People typically commit this offense when they take another person's life by means of premeditated or intentional act. Premeditated is you've planned it out, you've set tools aside.
Yes.
It's planned. A violation of this law is a class 1 felony, punishable by death or life imprisonment. So is the death penalty still a thing in Arizona then?
I guess so. Is this updated? Is this like an updated website?
I don't see a date on the website.
So I guess I know not all states still practice the death penalty, but I guess Arizona is still one of them. It sounds like.
So the language of this first degree, ARS 131105, sets forth 3 specific ways a person can be charged with first degree murder. A person commits this offense if, number 1, intending or knowing that the person's conduct will cause death, the person causes the death of another person, including an unborn child, with premeditation. Number 2, the person commits a certain felony offense that takes a human life either in furtherance of the crime or in fleeing from it. Or number 3, the person intentionally causes the death of a law enforcement officer who is in the line of duty. So I don't think Jimmy falls in here because he is just going off the seat of his pants. He was not...
Yeah.
I don't think he was planning on killing Gillian. I think he was just going to beat her till, he was satisfied. I don't know. What do you think?
Right. But in the case of the book, selling drugs to minors, knowing that they were laced with deadly fatal doses of Jimson weed, would that be considered premeditation? I don't know.
Because it's not really like I'm doing this to kill. It's just a byproduct of what I'm doing. I don't know.
That's a loophole.
I guess.
That's a loophole. As far as what the girls could have been charged with in Jimmy's quote unquote murder, if you want to call it a murder, because I don't even think they fucking knew what they were doing. Did they know the effects that belladonna has and it can be fatal? Probably, if they were brought up by the aunts who were using it all the time. I'm sure they knew the dangers of it, but did they really know the repercussions of dumping a whole little vial of it into an entire bottle of tequila? Did they expect him to drink the entire bottle of tequila?
Right. I don't know if they're ones to do research or if their whole lives their aunts have been like, oh, you put it in your tea to relax, calm your nerves. And then Gillian just naturally found out, oh, it makes him sleepy.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah. So I don't know if Jimmy's death would have been premeditated. And I mean, the second time they killed him was self-defense. He literally had his hands around Gillian's throat with the frying pan incident. So yeah. I don't think it would have been first degree murder if they were charged for Jimmy's death.
Okay, well, here's some examples. This might help us weigh those options. Okay. So some examples of first degree are hiding in the bushes outside, say, an ex's house, shooting the person as he walks towards the front door. So you're waiting for your target and then you kill them.
That's blatant, like murder in the street.
Say, okay, somebody robs a store and they kill the person while they're trying to leave the crime scene. Mm-hmm. So somebody gets in their way, boom, that's also first degree.
Victim of circumstance.
Yeah. Ooh.
That sucks.
And this last example says shooting and killing a police officer during a high-speed chase, which is...
So trying to get away from a crime you're knowingly... if you're running away, you have a guilty conscience, you're already doing something wrong, and then you're gonna fucking kill somebody in the process?
Right. So the defenses under this first degree say criminal defense lawyers draw upon several legal strategies to help defendants challenge first-degree murder charges. Some of these include showing that defendants either did not act intentionally or with premeditation, they acted in self-defense, and or gave a coerced confession.
Coerced confessions are really fucked up. Because if somebody didn't actually do it, and there's so many innocent people sitting on death row as a result of coerced confessions, and just shit detectives that just want a raise or something. I don't fucking know.
Bully their way into getting the case closed.
Yeah. There's a show. I actually rented AMC. I actually signed up for a month of AMC just to watch Hilary Burton, the one that wrote The Grimoire Girl, the book that, we just saw her at the panel. She actually does a whole docuseries on AMC. I think it's called It Couldn't Happen Here, or It Can't Happen Here, about small town cases of people who are wrongfully convicted of crimes that most of them probably didn't commit and are sitting innocently on death row or sitting in jail, just as a result of shitty, evidence collection or...
She is full of surprises.
Watch this show. It's really fucking awesome.
Give me your login.
It sucks, the circumstances that a lot of these people are facing as a result, but the way that she documents it, she really sheds a light on not everybody sitting in jail is guilty, and it sucks. It's really unfortunate that some people's lives are ruined because of a coerced confession or shitty evidence documentation, somebody didn't submit evidence correctly, or or it was thrown out of court as hearsay, or somebody's testimony wasn't taken into account.
Yep.
There's so many factors that
so flawed.
It really is. Our justice system is really fucked up.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
The penalties that come along with the first degree murder. A violation of the ARS 131105 is a class 1 felony as opposed to a class 1 misdemeanor, which we're not going to talk about. Okay. The crime is punishable by a prison sentence of life or the death penalty in Arizona. Number 2, this is second degree murder, which I think Jimmy might fall under. Let me know. Mm-hmm. So this is ARS 131104. is the Arizona statute that defines the crime of second-degree murder. People commit this offense when they, number one, kill another person intentionally, knowing, or recklessly, but, number two, do so without premeditation, which is required for the first-degree murder we just talked about. Second-degree murder is a class 1 felony punishable by a prison sentence up to 25 years. He wanted to kill her intentionally. He didn't plan it out, but he was going for that gullet.
And on the flip side, the girls killing Jimmy, would that be considered second degree? Because they killed Jimmy not intentionally, which just says it needs to be intentionally
recklessly,
or knowingly, but it was reckless.
Yes. Yep.
Right?
Yeah. So this second degree language reads as follows. It says, number one, a person commits second degree murder without premeditation. The person intentionally causes the death of another person, including an unborn child, or as the result of intentionally causing the death of another person, causes the death of the unborn child. Number two, knowing that the person's conduct will cause death or serious physical injury. Under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to human life, the person recklessly engages in conduct that creates a grave risk of death and thereby causes the death of another person.
I would say number three, under circumstances manifesting extreme indifference to human life, the person recklessly engages in contact that creates grave risk of death, thereby causes death. Recklessly engages in contact that creates a grave risk of death. So Jimmy knowing what the Jimson weed is laced with, knowing that it can cause death, I think he could definitely get nailed for second degree.
Agreed. Yes, I agree. So some examples are shooting a person in the chest with the intent to kill them, driving a car over 100 miles an hour down a neighborhood street and hitting a pedestrian and killing that person, knowingly stabbing a pregnant woman and killing both the woman and her unborn child. So some defense lawyers will use several legal strategies to help clients contest a second-degree murder charge. Some of these include that the accused did not intentionally cause the death, the accused acted in self-defense, or law enforcement violated one of the defendant's constitutional rights. And the penalties for the second-degree Class 1 felony offense is punishable by prison time between 10 and 25 years. That's it. 10 and 25 years. Did you hear that Gypsy Rose, was that the girl who she didn't kill her mom? She's getting out in December.
Wait, who's that? Who's Gypsy Rose?
Oh my God. I think her name is Gypsy Rose. Her whole life, her mom had Munchausen's by proxy or something like that.
What's that?
It's when a person convinces somebody else that they're very sick and they need care for the attention or the money or the benefits that come along. So this mother convinced her daughter, girl, you should check out these documentaries.
Oh shit.
Convinced her there was all this stuff wrong with her. It was putting her on a feeding tube, had her teeth pulled, she was on all these different medications. And somehow Gypsy Rose found documentation. She didn't even know how old she was.
Oh God. Okay.
I think her mom had been putting it in her mind that she didn't have any higher brain level function than maybe like a 10-year-old. And to look at pictures, she looks much younger than she is. I guess she discovered the internet somehow, Gypsy Rose. She met a guy online and learned all this shit, that she wasn't really sick. Her mom kept her locked up in the house. They would use it. They got a house built by maybe Make-A-Wish.
Right.
Gypsy Rose and this guy planned to kill the mom, which the guy showed up, killed the mom. I think he's in prison also, but Gypsy Rose was also sentenced to prison time, but she gets out in December. She was so young when this happened. Check this story out. It's insane.
I never heard of this. I'm fascinated now, and I'm gonna.
Yeah,
dude, it's so crazy. Real life.
Yeah,
these things that happen in real life, and seeing these documentaries, even watching Hillary's documentary about some of these cases that she covers. It's I can't believe that's even real life. It's so far out there. It's I can't believe all the stars aligned to help this person maybe commit this crime. But strange. It's crazy stuff. Because you really have to be a victim. If you are falsely convicted of a crime, you are in essence a victim of circumstance. If you're at the wrong place at the wrong time, anybody can be pinned for a crime that they didn't commit if they're at the wrong place, wrong time.
And now with AI having a couple pictures of your face, they can pin you for anything.
Anybody can pin your face on anything. Very scary. It's very, very crazy. Okay.
Let's move on to, I think there's two more, manslaughter, and that is ARS 13-1103, and this is an Arizona statute that defines the crime of manslaughter.
So is that third degree murder then?
I'm not sure if they call it that,
Okay.
because I always thought there was first, second, and third.
Right. So I was just curious if like they just upped the ante with the term manslaughter. It's like not even degree murder at that point. Like now you're just fucking blatantly killing a person.
Yeah, so this is when people commit this offense when they cause the death of someone else, but the killing falls short of constituting a murder.
Got it.
So a
Okay.
violation of this law is a class 2 felony punishable by a person sentenced up to 10 years.
Okay.
The language of this manslaughter set forth 5 specific ways that a person can commit the crime of manslaughter, and these include, number 1, recklessly causing the death of another person. So like maybe if you're in a car accident, drunk driving.
Yeah. And you're the driver,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Number 2, intentionally or knowingly killing a person in the heat of passion or upon a sudden quarrel.
Hmm.
Okay.
Jimmy.
Number 3, intentionally helping another person commit suicide. Number 4, intentionally or knowingly killing a person while being coerced to do so by the use or threatened use of deadly physical force upon such person. And number 5, knowingly or recklessly causing the death of the unborn child and physical injury to the mother. So some examples are killing a person while recklessly driving under the influence, causing the death of a spouse after catching him cheating with another woman, or intentionally helping a loved one commit suicide. I did not know that that was a crime. Like if maybe not like shooting them, but like giving them like extra morphine or something. I didn't know that was a crime, but I guess so.
That would fall under what's the term? Was it euthanasia or something like that? Dr.
Assisted-
Kevorkian?
Right, yeah.
Right? Well, yeah. Was he in
Assisted
the US
suicide?
or was that like a European thing? I don't remember where he
I
was
don't
from.
remember either.
I guess that would be, yeah, that would be considered murder if you're
Yeah.
knowingly killing somebody, which I think is why Michael Jackson's doctor was on trial, right? Because like
Was he?
because Michael Jackson's begging for more morphine and giving
Oh.
him more morphine. So
Oh, shit. So some defense's attorneys will draw upon there's several legal strategies to help the defendants challenge manslaughter charges. Some of these include showing that the defendant acted in self-defense, they did not act recklessly, or they did not act with a criminal state of mind. And the penalty for this class 2 felony, as opposed to a class 2 misdemeanor, is punishable by up to 10 years in a state prison.
okay.
And then lastly, you and I talked about negligence. Whenever we were trying to figure this whole thing out, you brought up negligence.
Okay.
And this is called the ARS 13-1102. And it's an Arizona statute that defines the crime of negligent homicide. You commit this offense if you cause the death of another person, including the death of an unborn child, by means of criminally negligent acts. Oh, I think it was the exorcisms episode. We were talking about
Okay.
Annalise Michelle and
Mhm.
her starving because of negligence.
Yes.
A violation of this law is a class 4 felony, typically punishable by a prison sentence up to 3 years.
Okay.
The language of this felony reads as follows. A person commits negligent homicide if with criminal negligence, the person causes the death of another person, including an unborn child. Did I read that right?
Person commits negligent homicide if with criminal negligence the person causes death of another person.
Okay.
Yeah.
So some examples are shooting someone in the head after recklessly handling a gun, killing a child after locking them in a hot car, negligently causing a fire that kills another person. And criminal defense lawyers draw upon several strategies to defend against this. Some of these include the accused did not act with criminal negligence, the defendant's act did not cause someone else's death, and or the police violated the defendant's rights. And this penalty for negligent homicide, that case 4 felony, negligent homicide sentence is generally in the state prison. You're in the prison for up to 3 years. So that's the difference. Whether or not I'm going to keep those straight, I don't know. But what do you think? Do you think he would be...
Well, if we're talking about the Jimson weed in the books, I think that would probably be second degree murder for the murder of all those college students that bought drugs from him. As far as if he actually killed Gillian, probably manslaughter. The manslaughter was the crime of passion.
Right. Yeah.
Probably manslaughter. And as far as the girls killing Jimmy, I think they'd probably get second degree for that. What do you think as far as like the girls killing Jimmy? How do you think?
Probably manslaughter.
Manslaughter?
Because
I mean, it seems like there's a gray area between manslaughter and second degree because they both note recklessly causing the death of another person.
Right.
But what other factors are they taking into consideration there, though?
The self-defense.
But how are they going to explain him coming back to life in a courtroom?
I don't know. Yeah, that one's tricky.
He killed him the second time for self-defense. The first time was reckless.
Yeah.
How do they judge that one?
So I thought it would be fun to do a homicide detective quiz.
Oh,
Would
God,
you like
okay.
to do that? Let me share my screen. Let's start.
Do you have what it takes to be a crime? What?
Do you have what it takes to be a
detective.
crime-solving detective? And this is through Playbuzz.
Do I have what it takes to be a GERPER-HURRLITT?
All right. Which of the following would be the best question during an interrogation? Were you at the bowling alley last night? You were at the bowling alley last night, weren't you? Why were you at the bowling alley last night? You weren't at the bowling alley last night, were you?
I would say, why were you at the bowling alley last night?
Which of the following is a focus of criminalistics? Voice spectroscopy?
I don't know what that is.
Odontology? Pathology? Toxicology?
What's a voice spectroscopy?
I don't know. I don't know what an odontology is either.
Yeah, I don't either. Are we talking about like criminalistics, like forensics?
I know as much as you do.
Yeah, I'm just like trying to vocalize. I'm trying to
Narrow it down.
use process of elimination. Well, odontology. I don't know why, but I feel like that's like the study of like teeth. I don't know why that makes sense to me.
Kind of sounds like dentist odontology.
Yeah, and pathology.
Blood.
Pathology is blood. Toxicology is substance in the system. I don't know what the fuck a voice spectroscopy is.
I know.
Well, blood spatter, pathology, yeah, you would have to... I would say pathology. Blood, right? Blood spatter.
In which direction do suspects typically look when they're recalling information? Left, up, right, or down?
Up. I usually look up when I'm trying to think.
Me too. I'm like trying to look at my brain.
Yeah. I feel like people look down, like, you know when like you yell at a dog and they kind of like cower their head and they look down? I feel like people look down when they're trying to hide something.
I think I heard people will look left typically when they're lying.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. When are you not allowed to taser a subject?
Oh, jeez.
When you are too far away, when the subject is firing a weapon, when there are multiple suspects, when the suspect is yelling.
When you were too far away?
Yes!
Wait, no, that wasn't my answer. I'm just...
Okay, let me go back.
It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna... Next time I'll say final answer. If that's
Okay, okay. What are the rules of engagement? Fire when you wish, fire at anything suspicious, only fire when you have backup, only fire when fired upon.
Only fire when fired upon. And at that point, it's self-defense if you're firing back, right?
Final answer.
Yeah, that's my final answer.
Okay. Have you ever experimented with drugs?
What does this have to do with
They probably ask you that when you apply
Wait.
to be a cop.
What's the name of the this quiz?
This is called Can You Pass the Homicide Detective Test?
Oh, okay. Have you ever been... Well, is it asking me personally, or is it asking what I would say if
How would you answer this if you were applying for this job?
if I were applying for the job, or is this what I'm asking a suspect?
No, this is you.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I would obviously tell them no.
Okay. All right. Do you have a criminal record?
No.
Which of these is a written order from a court detected to an officer that a person be placed under arrest? A summons, a warrant, a writ of habeas corpus, or a subpoena?
Which of these is a written order from a court directed to an officer that place a warrant?
The characteristic appearance of asphyxia victims will be noted in what portion of the body? Internal organs, chest, extremities, or face?
I would guess the face would be blue, right? The lips would probably be blue if they were lacking oxygen. I would say the face.
Probably. And like blood vessels in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
You arrive at a crime scene, and as you photograph the corpse, you notice maggots. This helps to establish a time since death of approximately more than a week, 5 to 6 days, or 1 to 3 days.
Doesn't the body like decompose relatively quickly if it's not refrigerated or like in a morgue? I would say 5 to 6 days.
Which of these is not a cause of death classification? Homicide, accidental, suicide, natural, supernatural.
I'm gonna say supernatural.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody gives a fuck about ghosts when trying to prove a murder, solve a murder.
Spectral evidence.
Exactly, yeah. Which is what they used during the Salem witch trials, and like that, we saw how that turned out.
Evidence such as hair, fibers, paint chips, and glass fragments are called what? Trace evidence or biological evidence?
This is confusing because hair fibers, actually, hair, I would say hair is biological evidence because hair links you to DNA, but fibers, paint chips, and glass fragments are not biological. So I'm going to say trace.
Okay.
Even though hair is lumped in with that, I don't know why.
Calculating results. You should be a crime scene investigator.
That, you know what that means? I watch way too many crime documentaries.
Your knowledge of criminology and solving murder mysteries isn't quite there yet, but don't worry, you are brave and fierce and probably better suited for a job in action, like the police force or a SWAT team. There you go.
Nice.
Very good. Good work. Good work, team.
Good work, detective. That was fun.
And we're going to take one more break, but before we do, I showed you the other day, I bought this new book called A Tea Witch's Grimoire, and I was like, I wonder if there's anything in here that Gary might have benefited from. I picked out a tea called Truth Tea that he might have benefited using. So this consists of dandelion root, dandelion leaf, 2 teaspoons of red clover, and 2 teaspoons of borage flower. This is by S.M. Harlow, by the way. It says, take this dry blend first to the white candle by the entrance. Hover and chant. Truth will only be welcomed. Then take the blend to the burning incense at the back door. Hover and chant. It does say at the beginning, like, where to set up things. It says, chant, lies will only be banished. Now drop 1 tablespoon of the tea blend into a traditional cast iron teapot. Brew it strong between 8 and 10 minutes. Almond milk may be added after serving the tea. Encourage everyone to finish all their tea. Then begin to ask your questions, casually, working them into the conversation nonchalantly. You shall have the truth.
So you're saying that Gary should have brewed a pot of this tea before Sally came and bum rushed him at his Airbnb.
Right.
And he would have gotten her to give her full ass confession on that tape.
Yeah.
And not beat around the bush.
Use when you are in need of the truth from someone. You must share a pot of tea with the person in question. Before they step into your home, ignite the white candle by the entrance of the door, open the windows, and burn an equal blend of dragon's blood resin, white copal, frankincense, myrrh, and sandalwood over a charcoal patty. Fan this out over the area, then place by the back door to dispel the lies. Boil your water in the cast iron kettle, and then blend all those ingredients together.
Tell me lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Yeah. Very cute little book.
That is cute. That's a cute book. That's
use
Avi's
that.
favorite song. He loves that fucking
Oh,
song.
really? It's a good
Yeah.
song.
Tell me lies, tell me lies.
Nice.
You know what Gary went wrong? He
Where?
wasn't doing the witchcraft, because if he had put a candle by his fucking door and brewed a pot of tea before Sally came over, he would have had an answer in like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
So you fucked up, Gary.
You fucked up, Gary.
You've been a witch.
Ready for one more break?
Yeah, let's take another break. And when we come back, we're gonna do the Myers Briggs test on behalf of Officer GERPER-HURRLITT. And yeah, we'll tell you what his personality type is when we come back. So stay right there.
You're listening to the Magnolia Street Podcast.
Okay.
Let me just get this motherfucker open. Okay.
Get that motherfucker wide open.
The mother flipping. All right, welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody.
We're going to do Gary Hallett's personality quiz on the 16personalities.com. We're going to find out what his Myers Briggs is, but could you give us a little refresher on what Myers Briggs is.
So a Myers Briggs test, it's an introspective self-report questionnaire indicating differing psychological preferences and how people perceive the world and make decisions. The test attempts to assign a value to each of 4 categories: introversion or extroversion, sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, and judging or perceiving. 1 letter from each category is taken to produce a 4-letter test result, such as INTJ or ESFP. We did ours a while ago, and we were both labeled INFJTs. Turbulent advocates are introverted, intuitive, feeling, judging, and turbulent. They approach life with thoughtfulness and imagination, guided by their principal version of humanism. So that's basically a little in a nutshell what me and Christina
Just to plug our personalities a little bit, because it's about us.
You guys haven't seen enough of our personalities already, so yeah.
I think that Gary is extroverted, sensing, thinking, judging, or perceiving. What do you think?
You think he's an extrovert?
He has to be. He would have to be okay going up and talking to people, right?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so maybe extroverted. What's the difference between sensing or intuition, though? I don't remember.
I don't either.
I would think that sensing is kind of like intuition, right? Because unless sensing is more like an overall feeling, like a gut feeling, and intuition is more of like a knowing.
Going over all of the outcomes mentally.
But see, then the next one says thinking or feeling. So I don't fucking know the difference between them.
Okay.
It says sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, judging or perceiving. So, I mean, I don't know. What those all sound like they could be the same thing to me.
Okay. Are we ready for Gary?
Yeah.
And you guys have been through a number of these before, so we're going to just rapid fire. But we'll probably have stuff to talk about. And I was thinking earlier in this episode, I think somewhere I was like, oh, in the first season we did, the main characters and we had to do Jimmy. And, with the second season, we're still in the first year. We haven't popped out of 2023 yet. So we're getting Gary in under the wire.
Yeah, we still have not even done Kylie or Antonia, though.
I know. All right.
We still got main characters to do.
Yeah. Are we ready? Here we go. Gary. Can you answer them like Gary?
Oh,
Do
God.
you regularly make new friends?
Lucky guess, I guess.
Oh my God, no!
I would say he makes new friends on a strictly need to make new friends basis. Like, he schmoozes whoever he needs answers from in his line of work, right?
And it's hard because we always try to consider the book. And I know in the book it says he had a whole town of friends. He has a dog. He has a horse. But I'm thinking that these friends are kind of kept at arm's length. So baby agree? Neutral?
No, I think he does make new friends. I just think he's got motives for making new friends.
Really?
I would say middle agree. I would say he keeps people right where he wants them.
Really? Okay. He's got a little dark side there.
Yeah.
You spend a lot of your free time exploring various random topics that pique your interest. I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I'm thinking that he's like a man of the law and that's his jurisdiction, and
I think he's
not
pretty
inside,
like black and white.
If it's not inside his jurisdiction, he don't give a fuck about it.
Okay. Middle disagree or big disagree?
I say middle.
Seeing other people cry can easily make you feel like you want to cry too, at least in the books.
Yeah.
That's a hard yes. He's crying at the drop of a hat.
Agree.
You often make a backup plan for a backup plan. He did not bring a partner.
You're right. He didn't. Middle or baby agree?
You usually stay calm, even under a lot of pressure.
I would say big agree.
Yeah.
He was like in the heat of the moment during the whole exorcism scene, he seemed ruffled. Like he visually seemed ruffled, but he didn't show it completely. It wasn't until
almost deer in the headlights.
Yeah, it wasn't until after that he kind of like gave Sally like a piece of his mind, but he still was like
calm, cool, and collected.
Right. He didn't run away.
He can't have a hair trigger,
Exactly. Yeah, he didn't shoot, right? He never never shot, and he didn't run away ultimately. He stuck around through it all. So,
Okay, question about the shirt though. If Jimmy's hand went in through his body, his shirt wasn't damaged?
yeah.
How's that work?
How does that? I don't know. Hollywood.
At social events, you rarely try to introduce yourself to new people and mostly talk to the ones you already know. I think he's got a dossier on everybody.
Yeah, I think he wants to know things about everybody, even if it's not necessarily for legal reasons. Like, he just has a general curiosity about people. So I'm going to, it says you rarely introduce yourself. I'm going to disagree.
Okay.
I think he's always going around talking to random people.
You prefer to completely finish one project before starting another. I would say maybe baby agree.
Well, let's talk about this for a minute.
Okay.
So the files. He had
the files. Those
upon-
all can't be on Jimmy.
He had files upon files upon files, but like, who's to say he wasn't working on other cases simultaneously?
I can see that. Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Baby disagree?
Baby.
He's working on multiple cases?
Baby disagree. Okay. You are very sentimental.
Agree, right?
Yeah. He kept the letter.
He must be a Cancer moon or something.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You like organization tools like schedules and lists?
Mm-mm.
No, he's not on a schedule.
Organized at all.
Even small mistakes can cause you to doubt your overall abilities and knowledge. I think he's questioning his sanity by the end of that movie.
100%.
So baby, agree?
Yeah, let's do that.
You feel comfortable just walking up to someone you find interesting and striking up a conversation.
Agree. He's got to, in his line of work, he's got to feel comfortable going.
He was talking to all of those townsfolk.
Right.
I wonder how many breakfasts he got to go to that week. You are not interested in discussing various interpretations or analyses of creative works. I think Gary reads Louis L'Amour, and it's like, it is what it is. It's straightforward.
You're probably right. I could see Gary reading Louis L'Amour and him actually like enjoying and knowing about Louis L'Amour, whereas Jimmy is just like fabricating that he's into Louis L'Amour just to make himself sound like intellectual.
Yeah. Middle agree?
Well, if we think about, again, going back to Gary's profession as a detective, don't you think he would, in his mind anyway, go through like the various outcomes and reasons for why his favorite books turn out the way they, like his favorite characters, what the author's choices were for writing about certain characters? Do you think he would like question that stuff?
I do, yeah. Yeah, you have a point.
All right, so then maybe middle disagree?
You are more inclined to follow your head than your heart.
I would say in most cases, but Sally's thrown him for a loop there.
Yeah.
Right?
He's dropping all of the prerequisites for law enforcement when it comes to her.
So should we go to his prior approach or his approach once he meets Sally here?
I mean, we don't see him before, at least in the movie, right?
Yeah.
So we have to go off of him meeting Sally. He's
usually more inclined. He makes an exception for her.
Yeah, so he wants it to be his mental. He wants it to be his mind.
I would say he's typically more inclined to follow his head than his heart, but all bets were off once he met Sally.
I'm going to do middle agree.
All right.
You usually prefer just doing what you feel like at any given moment instead of planning a particular daily routine.
Do you think he's got a routine?
I think he's like, I'm up by 5, I brush my teeth, I take my poop, I have my coffee, and then I go about my day. I think he's got like a boom, 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 boom.
Right. Yeah.
But the rest of the day is who the fuck knows. Maybe it's because his work life can be so chaotic. I feel like at home he needs that stability.
Yeah. I could see that. And we think he's an earth sign, right? So he's got to have some kind of like routine.
Yeah.
Even if he's not the most organized on paper, he's got to get his morning poop in for sure.
What were those things from the 90s? They were like this big and they were electronic and you could open them and like keep track of your tasks in your calendar. Do you remember what those are called?
I think I know if this was like before BlackBerry?
Yeah.
I don't remember what they were called though.
Oh my gosh. Oh, when they started having the pens, what were those called?
Oh, a Palm Pilot?
Palm Pilot. Thank you.
Oh,
He's got his little Palm Pilot.
Blast from the past. I have not heard that word in a hot
Thank you.
minute. Palm Pilot. Yep. You usually prefer just doing, you feel like at any given moment. Yeah, let's go with baby disagree.
You rarely worry about whether you make a good first impression on people you meet.
Well, when he first met Sally and she went inside and was like questioning him, like, how did you know she was my sister or whatever? And he's like, lucky guess, I guess. When he's like, he's flashing her those like...
He's put on all the charm.
Exactly. I think he totally wants to make a good impression. Because like he has to, because if he wants people to tell him the truth, he's got to get them to trust him.
Yes. Okay.
I think he's definitely concerned with making a good impression.
Got it. Okay.
No disagree.
Flip it and reverse it.
Yeah.
You enjoy participating in group activities.
No, I think he works better alone, which is why he's got no partner.
Yeah, he's not a team player.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. You like books and movies that
I think he makes his own rules. That's why.
Mm-hmm. You like books and movies that make you come up with your own interpretation of the ending.
I don't know if he necessarily wants to come up with his own interpretation. I think he likes a clear cut
Mm-hmm.
like picture of what
I do too.
happened.
Can you imagine him watching like Shutter Island or like Inception and him turn into Sally and being like, what the fuck was that? Like, can you explain this to me?
Basically the same way he turned to her after the whole exorcism was like, what the fuck was that?
Can someone explain this all to me? So he does not. He probably does not.
No, I don't think so.
Your happiness comes more from helping others accomplish things than your own accomplishments.
Yeah, I would say he helped them accomplish getting away with murder, like no skin off his back.
Yep.
Agree.
You are interested in so many things that you find it difficult to choose what to try next.
I'm gonna say disagree. I think he's just so like like when you see more like most detective movies, the detective is always just obsessed with like that one murder case and like that's all they.
And it's
they,
always
like,
right before he's gonna retire.
They eat, sleep, breathe murder, and they need to figure it out. I don't think he's got any other hobbies or interests. I think this grinds his gears. This is what gets him
Motivates
up
him.
in the morning.
So hard for the murder.
Yeah.
All right. You are prone to worrying that things will take a turn for the worst.
I would say agree.
He's got to.
Yeah, he's like, well, from the book anyway, like learning about his traumatic childhood and all the people around him getting struck by fucking lightning.
Yeah. What the hell? Mm-hmm.
I would say he's always worrying about the next lightning striking, like the next thing that's gonna happen that's gonna stir shit up. I don't know.
You avoid leadership roles in group settings.
Right.
I think he would let somebody else take the reins, but then halfway through he would be so fucking fed up that I'd be like, step aside, you. Like,
Step
I'm gonna
aside.
take this over.
Oh yeah, that's right. Wait. Okay, wait. So let's use these little breadcrumbs that the directors have given us so we can make a informed decision.
Yeah.
So in that scene when he's helping Antonia make the pancakes, he's actually watching her first, and then he's like, no, that's not how you do it.
Yeah. Watch this kid.
Maybe he needs to be in a leadership role because he likes things done his way.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm going to say he does not avoid leadership roles. He takes the bull by the horns, damn it.
Yeah. You're definitely not an artistic type of person.
I
He's
don't know,
making
because
cactuses.
He's exactly. Those were the best cactus pancakes I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So I don't know anybody not artistic that can do that. Or that can't do
Oh
that.
my gosh. Can you imagine if he's one of those guys with like the squeezy tubes of colored pancake mix, like making the art that you flip it over and it's like an anime character?
Oh yeah, I've seen those before. Yeah, I could see him doing that.
All right. So how about
He's
baby
not-
disagree?
Like weird talents.
Mhm.
So you're definitely not an artistic type of person.
He probably thinks like knot tying is like an art form.
Yeah, I could see. All right, yeah, maybe baby disagree.
Okay.
I think he's got little splashes of creativity that you might not normally consider creativity, but it gets him out of a pickle if he needs it.
Maybe he's like a leather worker or like a woodworker in his off time.
I could see that.
You think the world would be a better place if people relied more on rationality than their feelings?
Yes, agree.
Yes. You prefer to do your chores before allowing yourself to relax.
You think he's doing chores?
I think so. He's taking care of that horse before he's taking them boots off, you know?
That's true. Yeah, okay. But if I'm looking at his files, that shows me that he's got dirty laundry everywhere. His bed's not made. Like, I don't know.
He's a
You
mixed bag.
enjoy- Yeah.
You enjoy watching people argue.
I don't know. I don't know if I would say that.
I don't think he likes it.
Yeah.
Disagree.
Yeah.
You tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself.
That's a hard one because, like, when he came to town,
He was flipping his badge all over the place.
he was, but he was kind of like also blending in a little bit. Like, Sally didn't even know he was there till like a week fucking later when he came waltzing into her shop.
And for being like a small town, if there's like a new person in town,
Uh-huh.
you would think there'd be chatter.
Right.
So yeah, well, he'd have to be kind of sneaky if he's a cop.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
You tend
so
to
you
disagree?
tend to avoid drawing attention to yourself. Agree.
Oh, avoid. Agree. Yeah, agree.
Your mood can change very quickly.
I don't know, man. I think he's like even keel
Me
all the
too.
way. He
Yeah.
was not very ruffled after that exorcism thing.
Even
was-
when he was upset, he was communicating. He wasn't
Right.
just storming off.
Right.
Trying to rationalize, what was happening. Even with her crazy ass answers she was giving him, he was still trying to take it in. Big disagree, middle
I
disagree.
would say big disagree.
You lose patience with people who are not as efficient as you.
Well,
Agreed.
Antonio, step aside.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
yeah.
often end up doing things at the last possible moment.
Well, he waited to the end of the film to plant that kiss on Sally, so
true.
and that was a whole 3 months after he had left before the end of the film happened, right? It was from the end of the summer to Halloween, or right before Halloween, basically.
Okay. So agree?
Yeah, I'm thinking he's gotta make sure all his ducks are in a row before he makes that what's the analogy? He likes to test drive the car before he buys it.
He's a Sagittarius.
He wants to make sure everything is good before he makes the deal. He seals it. I don't know, I would say middle.
Okay. You have always been fascinated by the question of what, if anything, happens after death. I think he's lost a lot of people.
Yeah.
I would say maybe, little baby.
Yeah.
You usually prefer to be around others rather than on your own.
Disagree, right? He's a lone wolf. He works by himself.
Yeah. You become bored or lose interest when the discussion gets highly theoretical.
I would say on a typical basis, he probably, I don't think he would have any interest for that, but I think Sally flipped that switch for him. I don't know.
I think he can go toe to toe, but as a choice, I think he would just rather do something more productive.
Mm-hmm.
You get bored and lose interest. So baby, middle agree?
Yeah.
You find it easy to empathize with a person whose experiences are very different from yours. Yeah, I think he does.
He empathized with the girls after finding out why they committed that murder.
Does he
and
ever find out why?
I don't know if he finds out why, but I think he kind of puts 2 and 2 together once he sees that spirit come out of Jillian's fucking body.
Yeah. Even with Phoebe Stone, I think he wants to bring in the bad guy. He's advocating for women, and their safety, trying to get this guy off the streets.
Exactly. I think he would have to empathize with a victim in order to want to track down a criminal.
Sure.
So I could see him finding it very easy to empathize.
You usually postpone finalizing decisions for as long as possible.
No, I think he knows I think he's a guy that knows what he wants.
Okay. You rarely second guess the choices that you have made. Rarely second guess. I would say baby disagree. I think he was turning that decision over and over in his head on what to do with that ring. Yeah. After a long, exhausting week, a lively social event is just what you need.
I don't think he's...
Disagree. He's going out to the desert. He's sleeping on some rocks.
Under some
soaking
stars.
Up the sun like a lizard.
Again, I don't think he's socializing because he legitimately enjoys socializing. I think he's socializing to get closer to the solution to, solving a crime.
Yes. You enjoy going to art museums.
I would say disagree.
Yeah. You often have a hard time understanding other people's feelings. No, disagree.
Yeah. I would say he has to have some kind of intuitive level of understanding how people feel, because you kind of have to feel people out when you're a detective and trying to solve a crime. You kind of have to have that intuitive thing about
that empathy. Yeah, I'll put baby disagree because he is still a guy. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
You like to have a to-do list for each day.
I think he does have a to-do list because, when after he's asking Sally to do I guess do breakfast the next day or whatever, he's like, well, I still have some work to do around here, so how about we say whatever o'clock?
Yeah, he was going through his Palm Pilot in his brain, trying to figure out where his opening.
I think he definitely has a to-do list in his brain anyway.
Yeah, you rarely feel insecure.
Agree.
You avoid making phone calls. He just shows up. He's not calling.
He's like that uncle that just doesn't call before he knocks on your door and you're like, what the fuck?
Uncle Gary's here. Uncle
Gary. Yeah.
You often spend a lot of time trying to understand views that are very different from your own. I think he's trying with the girls, they're spouting all this supernatural stuff. I mean, he saw it firsthand. He's really trying to understand.
Yeah, I would say agree. I feel like you kind of have to in that line of work. You come across all sorts of bullshit in that line of work.
In your social circles, you are often the one who contacts your friends and initiates activities.
I don't think he's got a social circle.
I don't think so. Disagree.
Yeah,
If your plans are interrupted, your top priority is to get them back on track as soon as possible.
agree.
You are still bothered by mistakes that you made a long time ago.
I would say agree. I think he's got a guilty conscience, even like he's always trying to do the right thing. And I feel
Yeah.
like even if it wasn't his fault, I feel like he still beats himself up over it, even if it happened a long time ago.
Do you think he and Jillian would get along? Because we think she's kind of a Sag too, right?
I think he's more of like a Capricorn, like a Sag cusp, maybe with the
Yeah.
Capricorn. I don't think he's full blown Sag.
Right. I wonder what their relationship would be like, if it would be like bickering or if it'd be more like one-upping each other with...
I feel like the latter. I feel
Yeah.
like they both think they're smarter than each other.
Sure. You rarely contemplate the reasons for human existence or the meaning of life.
I would say agree. I think he just takes things at face value. He's like, oh, well, we're here. Like,
Yeah.
it's what it is.
Your emotions control you more than you can control them.
Disagree.
I would put baby disagree because emotions, including arousal.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess so.
He's letting his emotions cloud him.
You 100, yeah, you're right. Okay.
I'd be fine with neutral.
I know, you're right. I think I would go more on your emotions control you. I would go maybe middle or baby agree.
Okay, I'll do baby. Bye-bye. You take great care not to make people look bad, even when it's completely their fault. I think he's the good cop and the good cop, bad cop. He's the one, like, bringing the hot coffee, like, man, it's okay. Like, we all go through those things sometimes.
Uh-huh.
What do you think?
Well, I mean, it was completely Sally's fault. He wasn't, I think he was playing neutral. I don't think he was saying they did it or they didn't. He just really wanted the answer out of her. And he's like, Sally, did you? I don't think he's trying to pin blame on anybody. He wants to uncover the answers for himself. So I don't know if he would necessarily try to consciously make anybody look bad.
Right.
Or purposely make anybody look bad. So I would say maybe middle agree.
Okay. Your personal work style is closer to spontaneous bursts of energy than organized and consistent efforts. Is he a marathon runner or a sprinter?
Although his papers and files are fucking organized as fuck. But as far as like a schedule, I think he has that list in his head that he needs to get done because he told Sally, I still have some work to do around here, but then how about we get together later on?
Yeah.
Like he didn't just drop the rest of the stuff he had to do to take her out right then and there. So
True. Yep.
I think he's got to get through his to-do list before he can move on to the next thing.
Okay.
So I think, yeah, definitely more organized.
Okay. When someone thinks highly of you, you wonder how long it will take them to feel disappointed in you. Do you think he's a people pleaser?
I don't know.
I don't think he has this.
I would say neutral. I don't know.
Okay. You would love a job that requires you to work alone most of the time.
Agree.
Yeah.
Hard agree.
Even when his safety is in question.
Exactly.
Yeah. You believe that prodding abstract philosophical questions is a waste of time. I would kind of do baby agree.
Yeah.
Again, he's a black and white. It is what it is until I see proof.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wants the proof. You feel more drawn to places with busy, bustling atmosphere than quiet, intimate places.
That's hard to say. We've only seen him in this little small podunk town.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's also from the desert, so I would say he's most at home in quiet, intimate places. I don't know how Gary would do in a city.
You know at first glance how someone is feeling.
Disagree. I don't know if he's the most intuitive person as far as like, I know he's a very emotional person, but I don't know if he would pick up Sally's emotions right off the bat. I think he'd be like, Sally, what's wrong? Like what?
Right.
He was kind of freaking out after the whole exorcism thing, and like she had to kind of spell it out for him. Like he couldn't really, pick up what she was putting down. So typical guy. Yeah.
So hard disagree? Middle disagree?
Let's go with middle disagree.
Next.
You
often feel overwhelmed.
I don't know. We said he's cool as a cucumber, right? He
Yeah.
doesn't. I don't think he really showed that he was overwhelmed until again after that exorcism. Then he was still like cool as a cucumber, but that was the most that we've seen him really ruffled the whole entire movie.
Yeah, I don't think he's overwhelmed.
Yeah, same. Disagree.
Yeah. You complete things methodically without skipping over any steps.
Agree.
Yeah. You are very intrigued by things labeled as controversial. Murder.
Yeah,
Homicide.
I would say middle agree.
Yeah. You would pass along a good opportunity if you thought someone else needed it more. I
Hmm.
think you would.
Yeah.
I think you would.
All right, middle agree. Or
Yeah.
which one?
Let's postulate.
Okay. What are you thinking inside your head?
I can't even come up with an example, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I'll do middle.
All right.
You struggle with deadlines. I don't think he's struggling. He's making his little calendar. He's fitting in those slots of time.
All right. Disagree. Let's go middle only because we really don't know.
Okay. You feel confident that things will work out for you.
Let's go with middle agree because that whole conversation he had with Sally, like, I came here to bring in the bad guy because typically that's what I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
He seems confident in his job otherwise than that specific situation because that was just a fucking wild card than what he's used to. So
Yes.
I think typically he's confident in what he does, and then again, Sally threw him a curveball. So that's the last one.
Let's see these results.
Okay. What are you, Gary?
Gary is
the
a
defender. Was that what was Jimmy? Do you remember what he was? He wasn't a defender, was he?
I don't remember.
All right, so Gary is ISFJA. Okay, this makes sense. Defenders are very dedicated and warm protectors, always ready to defend their loved ones. True.
Yeah.
So he's 62% introverted, which makes him 38% extroverted. Introverted individuals tend to prefer fewer yet deep and meaningful social interactions and often feel drawn to calmer environments. He's 69% observant, which makes him 31% intuitive. Observant individuals are pragmatic and down to earth. Again, I think he's an earth sign for sure. They tend to have a strong focus on what is happening or very likely to happen.
Yes. That's him. That's our
Definitely.
boy.
He doesn't like surprises. 63% feeling. He's all up in his feels as opposed to 37% thinking. Feeling individuals value emotional expression and sensitivity. They place a lot of importance on empathy, social harmony, and cooperation, which makes perfect sense for being a detective. He has to
law enforcement.
have empathy, but he values cooperation because, the victim or the suspect or whoever it is has to cooperate with him.
He wants that social harmony. You can't have balance of the bad guys on the street. It's weighing that side down. You gotta even it out. Get them off the streets. I don't know.
So he's 71% judging, which makes him 29% prospecting. And judging individuals are decisive, thorough, and highly organized. They value clarity, predictability, and closure, preferring structure and planning to spontaneity, which we saw that all over that film. He had his to-do list. He has got his suspects he's had to interview. Closure, that letter at the end, even though he got the fucking zip code wrong, I mean, he still wanted to send Sally that official closure.
Yeah.
Right?
Something to ease her mind.
Yeah,
well.
like you guys are off the hook. Don't worry about it anymore. And by the way, here's some evidence back so you could throw it in your burn pile.
What the fuck? I don't get that. Whatever.
I don't either. He's 53% assertive, which would make him 47% turbulent. Assertive individuals are self-assured, even-tempered, and resistant to stress. They refuse to worry too much and tend to be self-confident when striving to achieve goals. And again, we saw he was cool as a cucumber even through the whole exorcism thing. Like, he was a little ruffled, but I mean, that wasn't enough to keep him away from this woman that he, was pretty sure that he loved.
Right. That he wished. I want to know what he wished for. Like, how did he know? It was her.
Yeah. So who is a defender, ISFJ? So a defender is someone with the introverted, observant, feeling, and judging personality traits. These people tend to be warm and unassuming in their own steady way. They're efficient and responsible, giving careful attention to practical details in their daily lives. In their unassuming, understated way, defenders help make the world go round, hardworking and devoted. People with this personality type feel a sense of responsibility to those around them. Defenders can be counted on to meet deadlines, remember birthdays. I could see Gary remembering like random birthdays, like people who aren't even in his like social circle, and he don't even need Facebook to remind him. He just sees them on the street and he's like, birthday. And they're just like, how did you remember that shit?
Yeah.
Like, I could see him doing that.
Yeah.
Special occasions, uphold traditions, and shower their loved ones with gestures of care and support. But they rarely demand recognition for all that they do, preferring instead to operate behind the scenes. This is a capable can-do personality type with a wealth of versatile gifts. Flipping pancakes, riding a pony backwards, like, you know,
Yeah.
he knows how to do the most random shit.
Yeah.
So, though sensitive and caring, defenders also have excellent analytical abilities and an eye for detail, which he would have to be a detective.
Yes.
And despite their reserve, they tend to have well-developed people skills and robust social relationships. Defenders are truly more than the sum of their parts, and their varied strengths shine in even the most ordinary aspects of their daily lives. Defenders are true altruists, meeting kindness with kindness in excess and engaging with the work and people they believe in with enthusiasm and generosity. The gift of loyalty. Among defenders' most distinctive traits is loyalty. Rare is the defender who allows a friendship or relationship to fade away from lack of effort. Instead, they invest a great deal of energy into maintaining strong connections with their loved ones, and not just by sending a "how are you doing" text message. People with this personality type are known for dropping everything and lending a hand whenever a friend or family member is going through a hard time.
Yeah.
And I have to say, like, he really kind of did that. Like, when he went to breakfast, he didn't know those little girls from Adam. Like, he did not have to, like, treat them that way. And he stepped in to the role of dad for those, like, 30 minutes that he was there. He just stepped into that role, and he did it very well. So Defender's sense of loyalty doesn't stop with their nearest and dearest. It often extends into their communities, their employers, and even family traditions. But the intensity of their commitment and desire to serve can have its downsides. Other people may take advantage of Defender's helpful, hardworking nature, leaving them burned out and overworked, which I think he was feeling a little overworked and burned out by the time the Owens girls were done with him, right? And that's why he left for a while. He left until
that was his last case before his vacation. He was like, I just need to get this done, and then I'm gonna go relax. And now
I need to meet my deadlines. Call me when the exorcism's done, and then I'll come back for the fall.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And defenders may feel guilty or stressed when they contemplate changes, even necessary changes, to themselves, their relationships, or the way they've done things in the past. And I think we saw a little bit of stress, on him after, like, right before he leaves Sally, when he drops that whole line, like, I wish for you too, and then he was out of there until the very end of the film.
Yeah, things were not going to plan.
Right, but I think in that moment when he said I wish for you too, and then he left, I think he had enough time between that point when he left, and I guess the beginning of autumn to really think about those changes and accept them, because he's so set in his ways and how he thinks. It's hard for him to make that transition right away.
Yes.
Like, in that moment he needed some time to marinate on okay, I'm in love with a witch. Things are gonna be different now.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
But I think I'm ready to take on that challenge. But he really had to, like, be sure.
Yeah.
Even
if she wasn't, even if it was just like, there's no magic. Say it's you or me, and it's a muggle guy having to date one of us, and him just having to be like, because I was going to ask my husband the other day, I don't know, we were walking, I was picking up shit, and I was like, is this ever too much? He's like, you get a little weird sometimes, but that's about it. He's like,
well, I mean,
you wanted to throw away all of our non-reusable. I was on that green kick for a while. I wanted to do all the green composting and all that stuff. He was like, you're so weird lately.
You're so weird lately. Well, you've heard Avi's response to your question, like, what's the witchiest thing you've ever seen Justina do? And he's like, do you mean, like, together, or like?
Yeah, it's so cute.
He's a fucking witch too, I'm telling you. Moving on to the highest of standards. For defenders, quote, good enough is rarely good enough. People with this personality type can be meticulous to the point of perfectionism. They take their responsibilities personally, consistently, going above and beyond and doing everything they can to exceed others' expectations. I could totally see this about Gary. I think he's a perfectionist. Defender personalities are known for their humility and rarely seek the spotlight. But what happens when defenders' efforts go unnoticed or underappreciated? While defenders tend to underplay their accomplishments, that doesn't mean that they don't enjoy recognition or that they're fine with being taken for granted unless they learn to stand up for themselves. Defenders may find themselves quietly losing their enthusiasm and motivation, eventually becoming resentful toward the people who just don't seem to appreciate them. Yeah, so showing up for others and themselves, although they're introverted, defenders have a deeply social nature, thanks to their ability to remember the details of other people's lives. Defenders have a special talent for making their friendships and acquaintances feel seen, known, and cherished. Maybe that's why Gary's so good at like remembering random people's birthdays. Like, because he's got to remember those dates. Like, he's got to get his dates straight because he's a detective. He's got to remember the details, right?
He probably remembers the weather it was like on like your 30th birthday, you know?
March 8th, 1998.
Oh, he remembers.
He remembers. So few personality types can match defenders' ability to choose just the right gift for any occasion, whether large or small. Dedicated and thoughtful, defenders find great joy in helping those around them build stable, secure, and happy lives. It may not be easy for people with this personality type to show up for themselves in the way that they show up for other people, but when they do, they often find themselves with even more energy and motivation to do good in the world.
Okay.
Okay, Gary.
Can we dive into like romantic relationship, parenthood?
Yeah. I just wanted to like go over like the pinpoints of the strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah.
There's some descriptions next to them, but I mean, I could just go down the
Well, who are
I guess, the
some?
list.
Do you see the defenders you may know?
Oh, yeah. Okay, there it is. Okay, so some defenders: Beyonce, Queen Elizabeth II, Aretha Franklin, Vin Diesel, Halle Berry, Kate Middleton, Anne Hathaway, Lance Reddick, Selena Gomez, Caitlin Stark from Game of Thrones, Samwise Gamgee from Lord of the Rings, Dr. Watson from Sherlock Holmes, Captain America, Tris Marigold from the Witcher series, Will Turner from Pirates of the Caribbean, Pam Beesly from The Office, Vito Corleone, The Godfather, and Brie Vandekamp from Desperate Housewives.
Okay.
All right, so some of the strengths and weaknesses of a defender. So some of the strengths: they're supportive, reliable, observant, enthusiastic, hardworking, and they have good practical skills. Some of their weaknesses: they're overly humble, they take things personally, they repress their feelings, they're overcommitted, reluctant to change, and too altruistic. Yeah, so let's take a look at the romantic relationships.
So romantic.
So this says romantic relationships bring out a side of this personality type that may not be obvious at first glance. Beneath their mild, unassuming exteriors, defenders thrum with passionate commitment and loyalty toward the people they love. At times, defenders themselves may be surprised by the intensity of their feelings, especially their fierce desire to protect and care for their partner. Maybe that's like why like he let Sally get away with murder, because like he loved her before he knew that he loved her, and he wanted to protect her. And didn't he say like, I'll do anything I can to protect you, even if that means like
Breaking the law.
I don't have to send you to jail for something that you fucking did. Right. So defenders' emotions run deep, so deep that people with this personality type may struggle to find the words to express just how much their partner means to them. But defenders show their affection in a million little ways on a daily basis. Always eager to make their loved ones' lives better and more pleasant, defenders can transform even the most, prosaic of tasks, from cooking dinner to organizing a weekend trip, into a heartfelt gesture of love and care. Defenders in love. Although generally a proactive, can-do personality type, many defenders struggle to take the initiative when it comes to dating. Asking someone out can be incredibly uncomfortable for defenders, who tend to worry about not only rejection, but also violating unspoken social rules. The bad news is that defenders can end up feeling trapped, wanting to embark on a relationship, but waiting for another person to make the first move. I think it was a little easier for Gary to ask her, because like he didn't really ask her on a date. It was work.
It was work.
He went over there to get some work done, and that's how he masked it. But we all know his true motives there.
Yeah. He was writing off those gas miles, as a business expense.
Right. So this says many defenders long to bring their gifts to a loving relationship, but they hesitate to take the risk of asking someone out. When they do find themselves in a relationship, defenders are, in a word, committed. People with this personality type find great fulfillment in sharing their time, energy, and affection with another person and as partners. They tend to be incredibly generous and supportive. They don't take their relationship lightly, and they don't give up easily, even when the challenges inevitably rise, which we
Like
saw.
Jimmy.
Like he did not, like he left for a little bit, but that ultimately did not sway him from coming back and, you know, I guess settling down with Sally.
Right.
That didn't change anything as far as how he felt about her. Defenders tend to have a realistic appreciation for the amount of effort that a healthy long-term relationship requires, and they're more than willing to put in the work necessary to build a lasting bond with the person that they cherish. Defenders' pragmatic approach to life shields the incredibly strong feelings that lie within their hearts. It's no surprise then that it can take these personalities a relatively long time to recover from the heartache of a breakup or even a particularly painful disagreement. Defenders give so much of themselves in their relationships that they can feel deeply hurt when they believe that someone isn't offering them enough love, commitment, and appreciation in return. Well, didn't it say in the book, like after his relationship with his first wife, the high school sweetheart, like he had not like been with anybody since her, right? And that was like
can fully
years
see
ago.
that. Him just buckling down,
Yeah.
putting his nose to the grind, not gonna get my
Yeah.
heart broken again.
Yeah.
He had his own Dove experience, you know?
Right, yeah. And then in comes Sally and changed
Yeah.
all of that. So unfortunately, defenders may find it difficult to break off a relationship, even when things aren't working out. People with this personality type may hang on due to misplaced loyalty, a general fear of change, or the hope that they can somehow figure out how to change any problems for the better. It would be a mistake, however, to think of defenders as pushovers in their relationships. Although people with this personality type generally try to avoid conflict, they have clear and firm opinions and preferences on all kinds of subjects. And when they feel as if their partner isn't respecting their wishes, all of their repressed frustration and disappointment may eventually boil over in the form of negativity, resentment, or heels dug in stubbornness.
Okay, let's talk about that. Because when he shows up at the house for breakfast,
Yeah.
I think for Antonia, he's putting on a good face, but as soon as she leaves the room, he's like, gotta question her too. He knows this might not go over well. He know in the book too, he's like, he knows they're gonna lie to him. He knows they're gonna say they picked it up at a pawn shop, whatever. When he's in the greenhouse and he picks up the belladonna bottle and he's looking at it, she tells him what it is. He basically like slams it back down on the table. He's kind of at his little limit, like a bullshit.
Yeah. I gotta go rewatch that scene and kind of trying to pick up his little mannerisms that, you know, show he's visibly like agitated that they're fucking with him,
lying to him. Yeah,
exactly. All right, so defenders devote themselves to their partner, but they may feel unfulfilled unless they remember to honor their own hopes and dreams. In their heart of hearts, however, what defenders want most is to ensure their partner's happiness, as long as they balance this desire with a healthy amount of attention to their own needs and aspirations. Defenders can enjoy exactly the sort of enduring and passionate relationships that they've always dreamed about. There's more here about friendships, parenthood, career paths, workplace habits, conclusion. Is there any other of these that we want to dive into?
Well, what kind of stepdad would he be? Let's do parenthood and then we can
Parenthood?
call it.
All right. So caring and steadfast, defenders take the responsibilities of parenthood seriously, which we saw him step into that role. And he seemed like a really great dad, flipping those pancakes for Antonia, like when they sat down at the table, like, you know, passing all the stuff to them, and like he just seemed like he fit like really comfortably in that role.
You know what, we were talking like you always have like the nice parent who lets you do whatever, and then you have the strict parent. Sally is that strict parent, you know, for a fact. And Gary's like, here, you can have whatever cookie, go play.
Yeah,
you know,
he's
just so wholesome.
Yeah. Which is why I think the aunts would really like him, because he would err on the side of like, all right, you could have some chocolate for breakfast. Like he wouldn't give a fuck.
Yeah,
he's like, let kids be kids kind of guy.
And I feel like Michael was the same way. Like Sally lucked out twice.
Yeah,
it's so hard to find a good man, and she got it twice. And then who the fuck knows about Ian? Like we don't know about him.
And you need that balance, right? You need that balance in a relationship and partnership.
Yes,
especially raising kids. Like there needs to be the good cop, bad cop kind of situation. So
I turn into my dad like, so fast. Like when I'm at my limit, so it's bad.
Your dad the bad cop, or is your mom the bad cop?
My dad's the bad cop. He's very
your dad's the bad cop.
Volatile.
Yeah. I don't know. I think both of my parents, like they both have their moments for certain things. Like, you know, some things I know to go to my mom for, some things I know to go to my dad for.
Oh yeah.
I kind of scope it out. as the situation arises.
Okay.
So going back to Gary, it says parents with this personality type see it as their duty to provide their children with a secure and comfortable home life, a stable foundation to help their children grow up to be capable, successful, and happy. But when it comes to parenthood, defenders aren't just motivated by a sense of duty, they are also motivated by love, and the depth and power of this love can be nothing short of amazing. Many people with this personality type feel that parenting is not just a responsibility, but a calling, a way for them to use their gifts of altruism, generosity, and patience to guide a beautiful new soul into the world.
Aw.
And in Gary's case, I guess stepping into that role, because at the end of the film, I think it's so cute how he's got like Antonia in his arms, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
just step right into that role, like no skin off his back.
His patience from his job and having probably to like de-escalate situations, keep his cool, really helpful attribute to have as a parent, you know? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to talk real quick about my godfather, Mark,
Mm-hmm.
you met in Salem.
Yeah.
He's a detective. And seeing how he raised my goddaughter and her sister,
Mm-hmm.
you could tell he takes some things from his line of work to make informed calls on like, no, yes, you can do that, or no, you can't do that.
Mhm.
Like,
That's awesome.
it's funny to watch a detective as a parent because they kind of use the same techniques
Yeah, that's
that
awesome.
they use in their line of work.
Should have talked to him for this episode.
I know, we should have. Where did we leave off? So defenders dedicate themselves to ensuring that their children understand the importance of taking responsibility and doing the right thing. And that's Mark, 100%. He's always making sure that, you know, his daughters are doing the right thing, his family's doing the right thing. I think my godfather's probably an ISFJ.
Oh, he was awesome.
For
I loved
sure.
all your whole family.
So it can be challenging for defender parents with their children in an effort to assert their independence, push back on this well-intended guidance and support. As part of their development, most children reach a point where they want to test boundaries, experiment with new ways of doing things, and make their own choices. And that sometimes involves going against their parents' advice and values. This may not be difficult for defenders to manage in the early years, but it can become more of a struggle once their children reach adolescence and young adulthood, when the decision-making stakes become much higher. Defenders value stability, and they want to make sure that their children are setting themselves up for the right kind of future, one that includes financial and professional security as well as happiness. If they worry that their children aren't putting themselves on track for this kind of future, defender parents can become deeply unsettled or even somewhat controlling. Not in Mark's case. He usually comes to me and he's like, your goddaughter's being a dumbass, go fix it. Like, he usually puts me into the hot seat when he tags me in, and then I gotta handle it. And then,
I love it.
Yeah.
So cute.
An abundance of love. So this is wrapping up the parenthood section. So it says, fortunately, defenders hardly ever lose track of just how much they love their children. It's true that parents with this personality type may sometimes be heavy-handed in their efforts to steer their children in what they perceive to be a good direction. But even if their children end up going a different way, that doesn't mean that defenders will stop loving them or trying to help them find a way to happiness. Defender parents lead with their hearts, and those hearts have more than enough room to love and accept their children as they are. The truth is that parenting is far from easy for any personality type, not if they're doing it right. That said, defenders have the advantage of being not just caring, but also thoughtful and responsible in how they administer that care. Often seen as ideal parents, people with the defender personality type are able to offer their children stability, security, and most importantly, an abundance of love and support. I'm curious about his workplace habits because we know he doesn't have a place of work, but if we saw anything from like how his files are all messy all over the bed,
I'm down.
Like, I'm just curious, like what are his habits
Okay.
as far as work goes? Because he works alone, so you know he kind of makes up his own rules as he goes. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
It says, wherever they may be on the career ladder, defenders share the goal of putting good service and dedication above all else. He's definitely dedicated.
Mm-hmm.
People with this personality type can always be relied on for their kindness and ability to listen carefully to concerns and find ways to resolve them. Win-win situations are defenders' bread and butter, and no other personality type can quite match the satisfaction that they take in finding practical, clear resolutions to day-to-day challenges.
I think he wants everybody to win. He wants everybody to be happy.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. As employees, defenders exemplify the strength of humble dedication. Relied on and respected for their patience and commitment, people with this personality type really only need one reward for their work: the satisfaction of knowing that they've helped someone. And if that person expresses a bit of gratitude, so much the better. At times, defenders' radical humility can hold them back. They tend to be unwilling to play up their achievements, often for fear of creating unnecessary friction. Unfortunately, this can make it all too easy for their bosses to overlook them when opportunities for promotion come along. Defenders' humility is a strength, but people with this personality type may struggle to get new opportunities unless they learn to take at least some credit for all the work that they do. Defenders, you have something to add?
I was going to ask if you, like, what's like above detective? Like, what if Gary got the opportunity to have a promotion, do you think he would take it, or do you think that to me, he likes being on the ground in the field? I don't think he would want to be administrative.
Right, because once you get that promotion and you start managing and overseeing other people, you're not in the field as much anymore. And I don't know as what the rank is for like a detective, like what's right above that. But speaking from Avi's perspective in his line of work, like he's an engineer, so he used to be in the lab, he used to be hands-on. Now when he got his new job, he moved up the next, I guess, chain of command or whatever. He manages like 20 people now, and I don't think he's as hands-on as he once was, and I think he misses that.
Yeah. Ugh.
So, maybe the same thing for Gary. Maybe he wouldn't, and it says that this personality type doesn't take change well. I think he kind of is comfortable in his rank in what position he's in now, and he kind of keeps wanting to go around, like
solving the problem.
Yeah. But who's to say that, like, maybe now that he's like settled down with Sally, he's probably not going to want to leave the comforts of his home as much, because now he has a family,
and maybe he would take that position to be because it's safer. He's not in the line of fire as much.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
So who's to say? Defenders' loyalty and dependability often makes them invaluable to their bosses. In general, people with this personality type can be trusted to carry out their task precisely and without complaint. But defenders' aversion to rocking the boat may make it difficult for them to correct or disagree with their bosses or coworkers, even when it's necessary to do so in order to avoid wasting time and energy. Fortunately, with time, many defenders learn to express their opinions and corrections in a gentle, non-judgmental way. So, defender colleagues. For defenders, an ideal work environment is founded on working together with colleagues rather than competing against them, with everyone collaborating toward the shared goal of getting the job done. Close-knit and supportive team members are what defender personalities enjoy most, allowing them to express their altruistic spirit among people who rely on their dedication and warmth. They tend to build relationships with their colleagues naturally, a skill that they use to keep things running smoothly, not to ingratiate themselves with others. These strengths can become drawbacks, however, as defenders' aversion to conflict and their desire to help can be abused by less scrupulous colleagues. Instead of only asking for help when they need it, some colleagues may heap extra work on defenders' desks, knowing that defender colleagues have a hard time saying no, unless they learn to set boundaries. Defenders can feel overburdened and stressed and not a little taken advantage of. So as far as a manager goes, defenders don't always raise their hands for leadership opportunities, but their interpersonal skills and work ethic can lend themselves quite well to managing others. As managers, defenders tend to be warm and approachable, always willing to answer questions and always ready to step up and help. Having no real desire to exercise power over others, defender personalities prefer to work alongside their subordinates, keeping things running smoothly and minimizing conflict.
Or is it Gary wanting to have that control of, like, your pancakes are shit? I'm gonna do this.
Yeah, probably that.
Yeah.
Defenders bring a team spirit to their work, and they aim to impart this spirit to the people they manage. Defender managers care about the efficiency and effectiveness, but never at the expense of maintaining a positive relationship with their subordinates. Change can be a challenge for bosses with this personality type, including the none too pleasant change of firing someone who isn't working out. At times, defender managers may sink a bit too much of their energy into an underperforming employee, but they'd much rather make this mistake than the mistake of giving up on someone who needed another chance. Defenders' gifts include generosity, patience, determination, but they aren't people who just want to hear what makes them great. Defenders are committed to actually using these gifts to become better people and be of service to others.
I think that's accurate. I think that I think we did a good job guessing Gary's.
I think we pegged him. Yeah, for sure.
Straightforward guy. Jimmy was hard.
Jimmy, yeah, but I think we pegged him too, though. Like, I think me and you have like a good read on people.
Yeah. We've just grown up with these characters too.
Yeah, but right. I mean, like, generally, like, it takes like a really intuitive empathetic person to
Mhm.
kind of tap into other people's feelings and emotions to be able to like kind of pinpoint those
Two
personalities.
INFJTs, baby. Yep.
Exactly. Not to toot my own horn or
Yeah.
anything, but I think I got a pretty good read on people, which is why I keep so many people at bay, because you get older and I feel like you grow more into those gifts,
I agree.
and
Yeah.
you just have less tolerance for people that you know don't have your best interests
Mm-hmm.
at heart, you
Mm-hmm.
know?
Cut the bullshit. Yeah.
So exactly. All right.
Okay. Erker. Nice. Officer GERPER-HURRLITT.
GERPER-HURRLITT, there he is.
There he is.
The defender.
This was really fun. I like doing Gary. We did, and we're gonna have some more Gary to come by before the end of the year.
Yeah. Our next episode will be our One Green Eye, One Blue song-isode.
Yes.
And then I think we're gonna dive into heterochromia.
Yeah.
Right?
It's like a little Gary bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need
Okay,
those
awesome.
warm, comfy feelings this time of year.
Yeah, because we're coming off the heels of that sleazeball Jimmy Angela. We spent a lot of time on him, so
Yeah, we need a palate cleanser.
I think we need a palate cleanser. Gary's like the what's the word? The not the sorbet, right?
Oh
You,
yeah.
you know
He's
how they
like the
give you the
little
sorbet?
ginger you get on the side of your sushi.
Yeah, or like he's like sniffing coffee after smelling different colognes, right?
Ooh, I like
You know
that.
how they like in like a perfumery they have like little coffee bean things out, so you could you
Is
never
that right?
noticed that?
I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
If you smell coffee beans, it neutralizes your scent palette, so then you can smell other things and it doesn't conflict with the other scents you previously smelled.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know.
I'm a
Walk into
dum-dum.
like any perfume store or like a candle store,
Mm.
there's usually coffee beans out.
Interesting. I thought they were just decoration. That's new. I didn't know that. That's neat. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Are we done here? Are we wrapping this up?
I think the first installment of Gary is done.
That is all we have for you guys today. Just a reminder, you can check out all of the sources pertaining to today's episode via our hero page. The link is in our show notes. And thanks again to our patron and Palmiers for creating this app and keeping creators like us organized. If you guys do want to support the podcast on Patreon, you can support us for as little as $1 a month. That's our seedling tier, and that gets you access to our patron-only polls where you get to weigh in on what topics you would like us to talk about next. It also gets you our monthly calendar so you can see what topics we have coming up for the month, and it also gets you a welcome shout out on the show. Our $3 Lavender Bud tier gets you our show notes for each episode in an aesthetically pleasing PDF, our after hours posts, if there's any extra tidbits or behind the scenes info pertaining to any of our episodes, we'll post those along with a blog post or extra photos, and access to our specially curated Spotify playlists. We have created playlists for our WMSR episodes as well as Production Dream playlists for each song-isode, and more. Our $5 Lilac tier gets you access to our private Facebook community where we host a monthly live stream. Plus, you'll get access to our Discord server where we host our monthly watch parties. And also on the Discord, you can join in on the discussion with other Magnolia Street neighbors via the various interesting channels and threads. And then here's the $8 Rose tier. This gets you access to extra audio visual content such as a once a month full-length video episode, unlimited bonus videos, uncut footage, cutting room floor footage, bloopers, outtakes, meditations, exclusive interviews, and old home videos from the vault, or spell or ritual videos, and more. It also gets you bonus content to coincide with our song-isodes, such as full-length demo streams of our original Practical Magic inspired music, plus lyric sheets, guitar chords, and original scratch demos, or bonus video performances of our songs and more. Lastly, we have our $15 Wisteria Vine tier. Just like a twisting Wisteria Vine, there's a way for you to stay connected with us, the Stinas. In this tier, we invite you to join our private Marco Polo video messaging app. The app is totally free for both Android and iOS. Sign up with your phone number or email, and we will help you do the rest. This is a great way to chat with each other in a more intimate group setting, face-to-face via video recording. We love to show each other our pets, our gardens, or anything else you'd like to share. And just a reminder that the higher the tier you sign up under, the more rewards you get, because you get all of the rewards of the tiers below it. You can upgrade or downgrade or even cancel at any time. So to support the podcast, head to Patreon patreon.com/Magnolia Street Podcast.
Yeah, and there are additional ways to support us and our podcast that don't cost you any money. If you do listen on Spotify, please give us a star rating. If you listen to us on Apple Podcasts, please give us a written review. We love sharing those on our Instagram. And if you're on Instagram, we would really appreciate any reposts or blurbs about our podcast. And make sure to tag us at Magnolia Street Podcast in your feed, posts, stories, and share us with your practical magic loving friends.
We have some merch. Check out our Teespring shop. The link is over in our Koji bio on our Instagram, and our handle is just at Magnolia Street Podcast. If you guys have comments or questions, or anything you want to throw at us, anything you want us to discuss on the show, any new theories or anything, feel free to email us at magnoliastreetpodcast@gmail.com.
Yes.
And leave us a review, right?
Yeah, I just posted one of the reviews today because I was like,
had that. Yeah, I
we
had
made that a while ago because I was going to hop on and make it, but I was like, oh, she already did it, and it's from Lisette. So thank you again for our review. We really appreciate that over on Apple Podcasts. You can write a little something.
Forever ago, in the midst of all like the plaid dog chaos, I put that together, and then the whole Elle magazine thing happened, and then like I got sidetracked.
We apologize. Thank you again for the review.
Yeah. I think that's all we have for today. Is there anything else you want to
That is it. Again, I hope you have a lovely birthday, and we'll talk we'll talk in a couple days.
By the time this comes out, will my birthday have already? When does
this comes out on the 15th?
All right, so 5 days before my birthday.
So in the song-a-sode, we can kind of little recap.
Yeah, we'll figure it out when we get to that point.
Okay, I'm Christina.
I'm Justina.
We'll see you next time.
At the house on Magnolia Street, would you